Hello, Robert.
Hey, good to see you.
Hey, Joe. And David. Hi, David.
David's bouncing away.
Hey, and there's our leader.
Hey, look at that. I actually made it to the kitchen. Welcome to the Zoom Test Kitchen. It's Jeff Widgren, your host. And I've been gone a little while. I feel like I've been gone way too long, but glad to be back. Hello, everybody. And hopefully the word got out. I got it out earlier today than normal even. So see if we can get some good minds in here and lots to learn, lots to share. But we meet every Friday at 8 o'clock Eastern, and like to certainly send out a thanks to Ray, who has covered for me a couple of times as well in as a stand-in host. So I really appreciate him and everybody who contributed and helped during those times as well. So we all know that the Zoom Test Kitchen isn't about Jeff Widgren or my agenda necessarily. I just host it and start a meeting and and build the archives out there on the YouTube channel and so forth. But I certainly learn a lot, and what I learn I like to share as well. So it's just a great community. So Robert, how are you?
I'm good. It's been a rough couple of weeks, just like you've had. And this evening has been I've been looking forward to this evening just to get away from it all and just
Fantastic.
something to look
Yeah,
forward to at the end
it's
of the
the
week.
only thing that really kind of keeps us going, right? Is you're burning it on both ends, and you just know at this time when that's done, I'm just gonna kick off my shoes and lay down and relax and disconnect. And so I'm glad the kitchen's part of that for you as well. It is for me. It feels real good to be back. Um, let's see, Ray. Didn't make you a coach. Let me do that so you can help me out on that waiting room if you don't mind. And we got David Paskin here as well. Welcome, David.
Hey there.
How have you been? You've been busy doing some shows of your own lately, right?
Yeah, had a whole bunch of good shows and been learning a lot about Zoom in the process. So good stuff.
Very cool. Well, anxious to hear what you've learned. And Ray, feel like we haven't talked in forever, but good to be back together. And Joe as well. Joe, my scripting friend, vMix scripting friend, so willing to share and help as well. So thank you for those contributions for sure. I know I
You
benefit
bet.
and many others as well. Who's here? Pete. Pete, haven't seen you in a while, but welcome.
How's everyone doing?
Good, good.
Events are coming back, so that's me.
That's right. And then Lois, I saw you on office hours the other day. I'm like, oh my gosh, there's my friend Lois. So
uh, twice now, and I'm going to try and do Monday mornings.
good deal. Good
It's
deal.
the one
Yeah.
morning I have time.
Good stuff. Glad to see. Where were you? I saw a whole different background behind you there on office hours.
Oh, I did a set for office hours. I did but it took a long time to set up, and this is my living room. So if people want to walk there, you can't do it with this, but
That's
no,
right.
I figured out ways to do a pretty good set without buying any new equipment or anything, just using what I had around the house.
Oh, it looked good, and your lighting was, I can tell you did a little extra with your lighting and the whole bit. It looked really good.
Well, it's in the dark, you see, so then I can do things. So,
There you go.
for example, I have hair that's mostly brown, but it has these two silver stripes.
There you
So
go.
on this, I want the brown to show to separate me from my background. On that, I combed it a different way so it was silver, and then I put a backlight so it showed up with a dark blue background.
Wow, very cool. Very cool. Very creative. Rupert is here, I can see, off camera at the moment. Welcome. Carmen, Phil.
Rupert did a great job last week. when you weren't
Doesn't
here.
it?
Where were you anyway, Jeff?
For the last month, I've just been just soaked with work and work that lands on 2 Fridays in a row. I had live events to deliver that were my own contracts. I had to, produce them and the whole bit. And there's just a lot of prep on that along with the delivery. And they both landed on Fridays back to back. And something was before that even. So, yeah, thank goodness for Rupert stepping in and doing a great job for sure. The knowledge is strong and willingness to help is incredible. So, thanks to him for that. And it won't be the last time, that I need to ask. I'm pretty confident about that, as work continues to, prosper for all of us and so forth. It's good stuff. So anyways, I know it's, and it's a growing network as well. The Zoom Test Kitchen is, not limited to, just individuals who show up and learn and share, but it's a network of people who can and do in fact work together as well. I worked with Robert and Carmen is here in the meeting today as well. Carmen and I work together and I've done some testing. Joe and I do some testing together as well. And Ray and I have had tons of conversation. Ray specializes in the presentation in front of camera. Which I'm not so great at, but I've gotten a little bit better. I'll try to stop doing this. That's all because of Ray. and what I think Ray's number one talent is he's a nice guy in the world, but he can't be shy in his business, right? He can't be really timid about what he shares with people who desire to improve. And some of us are a little, might go, do I really want to tell him not to do that? But if he
That's
knows
why I
it's
get
gonna make a
hired.
difference,
I
he's
get
gonna let
hired
you
as
know.
the third gun.
What's that?
I get hired as the third party gun that can.
That's right.
I'm not afraid of losing my job
That's
uh,
right.
because I'm only hired for that job.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And everybody's going to get the same treatment, right? Whether it's the CEO or someone else in the organization as well, they'll get the same kind of treatment and feedback and guidance. Marty, welcome. See that you popped in.
Hi there. Welcome. How nice to be here.
Yeah, thanks for coming out.
Sure.
So there have been a few things that have been happening with Zoom, right? I mean, I know you and Rupert, talked about Zoom conference, has been released as well. So now there's, on this platform, we can do a single event. We can do a summit, which are multiple sessions, just not overlapping. And one day truly means like midnight, wherever you may be. And then now the conference, which is 5 days of sessions that can be scheduled up to, tell me if I'm right or wrong, up to 13 sessions per day.
So now we're going to go ahead and get the live stream started. Yeah, so Jeff's going to be in about 30 minutes.
We were here in Lois, I think. Anyways, I think it's 13 sessions that can in fact overlap in a single day, but up to 5 days worth of sessions as well when you have Zoom Events Conference. So lots to talk about there. The latest version of Zoom is 5.8.4. How many of you are in fact on 5.8.4? Okay, so we've got a few. And that's good because I will probably need one another to test a few new things as well. But one is, how many of you, if you click up on the top right corner of your Zoom window to the view button, how many of you can now stop incoming video? No? Are you on 5.8.4 and you still don't have
Yep.
that?
Yeah, I've got that. And nope, at least not in this meeting.
What are the instructions?
The top right view button.
Okay.
You can see speaker, gallery,
Uh-huh.
stop incoming video. I wonder.
No,
I wonder
don't.
if
I don't know what that does though.
Stop incoming video. I'm wondering if didn't remember it being a host only thing because
I can see it. I can see it.
You can see stop incoming video. Well, it's supposed to be bandwidth preserver, if you will. And so if your network is struggling, you can click on that to kind of kill all the incoming video. And I want to dig into this a little bit because I haven't yet. You know, who can I still see, right? Can I still see a spotlight? So I'm gonna.
Does it make a difference that you're spotlighted?
Well, it's on right. It's
There's-
just off. I just turned it off. So
I
there's
found
no
a
spotlight
checkbox.
right now.
I found a
And then-
checkbox in Zoom settings under video.
Okay.
It says enable stop incoming video feature.
Okay, so it's under the settings. Great find.
It's person by person.
Yeah. So yeah, client app per client app. All right. So let's share my Zoom screen. Go to video settings. And you found it under what section? Under video?
Under video, yep.
Yep. Yeah, here we go. So enable stop incoming video feature.
I have it
So
now.
then when we do that, I'll stay shared for a moment while I do it here on my system. And the only video I see is myself. I know behind the scenes that you know, Ray's camera is on. and so the question is, somebody just spotlighted me, which could you see my moving video prior to spotlighting me?
Yes, I could.
Okay, but everybody else is shut off?
Shut off what?
Their video. If you did you also do a stop incoming video?
No, because I don't know what it does. I don't know what I'm
It
stopping.
just shuts the live video feeds off. It's almost like turning people's cameras off, but you're not really turning theirs off.
Yeah. What I'm getting is the little icons.
Yeah. Either the profile pictures or their name, right? And when I do it, I always like to get the attendee versus host experience. So I have stopped incoming video now as well. And I see
Interestingly, I
myself.
can still see myself moving. I can't see anyone else's moving.
Yeah.
but-
It leaves your own on. I can see me. Lois can see you. I can't see anybody else's motion video. And if I tried to spotlight, you know, somebody, I wouldn't be able to do that either because their camera feed is not on. Although I know their camera's on, I don't really know their camera's on. And so then my thought would be, well, what happens if I were to hide non-video participants? Are you all non-video participants right now? And it looks
I
like
can
the answer
pin
is yes.
someone, which I could not do with a non-video participant.
Yeah. So I did a two-step. This was interesting. So I stopped my incoming video. So all I saw was me. That was live. But I did see all of you in your static state, if you will, initials or profile pictures. While you were in that stopped video mode, I then turned off I selected hide non-video participants. You all in that mode, you're all considered non-video participants. So then now, so what I'm looking at right now is just myself, full screen, like I was pinned, because I'm the only video. Everybody else is off and hidden with that.
Like I can still see cameras, so it's only doing it for you.
Yes. I don't have.
Well, yeah. This has nothing to do with what I'm delivering to you. This is just the perspective of, is the host experience any different than the participant experience? If you did exactly what I did, I think you'd end up with the same thing, except your video would be of yourself instead of me.
That is exactly right.
So interesting, because we always, we always take these new, features and the results of the features kind of to the nth degree, right? So if, for instance, I don't know, we could just pen, if we had a recording project, right? We commonly pen if there was some creative need to, or something stops us on the penning, methodology. We now know another way to get to that, full screen of yourself, I guess, of doing a record. But pinning would apply to others as well, which would be obviously
But pinned and spotlighted people would still go to still instead of a video, I believe.
No, it's true. Well, yeah.
Spotlight yourself
If
and
I
see
if
what
I
happens.
spotlighted, you will. You're right. I'm confident you're right, in the sense that if I spotlight you and spotlight Frank, we've got a double spotlight. Now I see a
I'm
double
only seeing their
spotlight on my
profile pictures.
screen.
Yeah. So they're still spotlighted, but he's not moving.
Well, so
And I see
describe
Lois.
your
I see
describe
Lois and
your
Ray.
environment for us. He's not moving, I'm guessing, because you have
Right.
killed your incoming video,
I
right?
stopped incoming video. It did not unpin him. It keeps him pinned next to me, but just without any video.
Okay. So interesting. So because I have all my incoming video on, therefore I can spotlight you and Ray at the same time. And that's the way I see it on my system. And I'm the host, kind of, is why I can spotlight. But because Ray's camera was off, I couldn't possibly spotlight. But because he was on my system, not only can I spotlight him and see his video on my system and others with their videos on, it in fact spotlighted still image on Lois's desktop because her videos were turned off.
Can you, they may have changed something. Can you hide incoming, you the host, hide incoming, and then try and add a spotlight onto Nick Wolfer, who has not got a video at all.
So I'll tell you that I've already done it, and I'll say I won't be able to demonstrate it as well. And I'm interested real quickly, while we have a double spotlight and my stop incoming video is not active, so all my videos are on. Now, while I have two spotlights, I'm going to engage the stop incoming video.
Mhm.
And on my screen, both of you went to your static stage, your profile pictures. What did it do in participant land?
I have live video.
Yeah, I'll still see
You
live
still
video.
have live video.
Yeah.
Because that's it's a computer by computer setting.
Yeah, correct. And I can remove spotlight of, let's say, Frank right now, Ray. I'm going to remove Ray's spotlight, and I'm going to go back to the gallery, and I'm going to say, oh, I want to re-spotlight him. And at that point, I can't, because his video's not on, because I turned it off. And so if he went static, I can unspotlight him. But if he's static, I can't spotlight him if my incoming video is turned off. So,
but you can pin him. You can pin him.
Sure. Locally, I can. Absolutely. Yeah. Pinning doesn't seem to have changed at all.
Well, I can't pin anyone right now because you've got someone spotlighted.
Yeah, I'm going to remove that. Okay, those are gone. So now you can pin. Okay.
And I can Nick, who does not have a camera at all. That surprises me.
Yeah, I'm not a big pen user, so
You're always the host. Who needs to pin?
yeah, it's true. Not always, but all right. So, any other thoughts, tests, demos you want to pound on that particular feature?
I can't figure out what to do with this, to tell you the truth.
Yeah. Sometimes there's these new features, and I'm like, because I come from the teaching technology for years, and it's like I don't want to teach any topic that I can't make relevant to my audience, like have some kind of use case or a problem to solve, right, Lois?
My thought is, if you have a presenter and they're getting low bandwidth, they need to present and their camera's not working, if they stopped incoming video and lowered that bandwidth, then their camera work better so that we could see them, or their audio work better?
I a part of me says maybe. Most of me says no, because the upload and the download paths in I think most cases are logically, physically separated by our providers. I don't get more upload if I'm using less download, nor do I get more download because I'm using less upload.
Right, but
And
the
so,
difference would be your computer's taxation.
process. Yeah, it's really, I think it's really about as well local resource management, right? Processing all that video and using some memory while you're doing it. It may definitely help that, but it does. If it was a bandwidth thing where you have a presenter, and they are they're on camera and they're playing or sharing video, I'd say, first step I would take, if without interrupting the event, if it's live, it's live. Maybe this will help a little bit, but the distribution of assets is the first step I would take. Is, hey Marty, can you share my video for me while I'm speaking about it in this event today, right? And so, he has tested solid, upload and download bandwidth on his side. I've given him my movie. He's agreed to share it while I talk about it, and now I have no negative impact on my, let's say, limited amount of upload bandwidth. Yeah, Lois.
Right. So I'm looking at statistics,
Yeah.
at the bandwidth statistics, and it definitely goes, the receive definitely goes down when I stop incoming video. And, but I'm not seeing any appreciable difference in load or CPU overall or memory.
I can give a couple of thoughts on this. I'm sorry, I'm in the car, but can you hear me okay?
Yes, we do.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So just a couple of thoughts. When this was when they made this release, the blog article and the sort of message that went along with it from Zoom was that, as well as the bandwidth, there is a bandwidth use case there. We've got an example on that, but one of the other use cases for this feature was that some people just simply find incoming video distracting. That was part of the Zoom fatigue kind of debate, and so it was part of, I think, one of the intended uses is for people just to be able to switch off what they may be finding as a distraction. The other,
so essentially they've joined what they want to attend as a podcast, right? Because
exactly, yeah.
Nothing overrides it, as far with the exception of your own video.
Exactly.
Okay.
And then on the back usage, it can be. I've seen outbound performance affected inbound throughput, demand, I guess, particularly in HD meetings on low resource hardware. For example, like if I brought people into meetings and their audio to me has, until I switch my video off, because I'm crushing them too much bandwidth, and it's overloading their under-resourced machine. Probably like Marty says, at a machine software client resource management type level, not necessarily raw bandwidth, and that stopping the video in the meeting actually made their return audio usable.
Interesting. I'm trying to read through an article here real quick that references them both, but I don't think it crosses the line between them on this one. I'll keep looking on that.
Perhaps one other possibility, and I'm not sure how this works, but it might be that you would want a situation where someone is being distracting and you're either recording or streaming or something, and you don't want that distraction. You only want you at that point in time. So that's I don't know how this affects streaming. Does it stream out what you see, Jeff, or does it stream out what the overall resources are?
Well, I think that's probably a really good point, quite honestly, because although we're streaming, here, let's do this. Let me think about this for a second. Are all of you members of the private Facebook group of Zoom Test Kitchen? Let me see if I can set up here I'm streaming differently, the kitchen, right? I do a screen capture from a system that's joined in the meeting, and then I stream it through vMix. So I'm already streaming to the YouTube channel, but and Facebook, but I'm streaming to the Facebook page versus the private group. So I'm gonna set up live on Facebook from Zoom, because this will help us answer that question, because I have a feeling it will affect it.
And Pete has put a note in the comments saying he can't open audio or video. Wait a minute, there you are, Pete. I can see you. You fixed it.
I don't know. I thought maybe you guys did controls or something on me, but I guess not. I think it's on my end.
We still love you, Pete. We didn't do anything.
I was sorry. I was freaking out. I just had a phone call of a show this weekend working was canceled because the lead actress tested positive for COVID.
Okay, so I am.
By the way, Pete, your voice is extremely loud.
Loud?
I'm not getting the same. Take a couple more votes on that. I think it's okay in my ear.
Really?
Yeah. How about somebody else? How are you?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yeah, it was really just boomy, that's all.
Echoey.
Kind of roomy. Yeah.
Is
It
it
might be
me?
the distance from you and the mic, maybe. It's kind of roomy.
It's about 1.5 feet, and the room's about a 10 by 10.
Yeah. It may just be that if you got closer to the mic and turned it down a touch, you'd just sound a little more present, I guess. Share to the page, go live. Oh, let's see. I want to share to the group. Okay, here we go. Share to the group, Zoom Test Kitchen. So if you guys, whoever wants to watch this, I'm going to stream. Subject does not have permission. I guess I've never set up the group from here to let me do it. Okay, let's see if I can do that.
Huh. We're on.
Did it say we're streaming now? Looks like it's.
Well, I'm on Facebook. I'm seeing myself.
So.
Did it say we're streaming now? Looks like it's.
Well, I'm on Facebook. I'm seeing myself.
So.
Okay, we're getting a loop back. All right. So I think I did this to my all my friends are seeing this right now, but that's okay. I just did it to my timeline momentarily. Okay. And the easiest way to get there, if you haven't gotten to where we're streaming from Zoom out for this test, is to click up on the live stream in Zoom and drop that list down and tell it to view stream on Facebook. And
Your face is being covered up by a warning window.
Oh, yeah, you're not looking at the stream that we're going to test if you're seeing that. Thank you for
Well,
letting me know.
I'm on Facebook.
Yeah,
Facebook.com/Zoom Test Kitchen/videos/ and a big long number.
Yeah, that's not where it is. So if in Zoom, go to the top left where it says live on Facebook and drop down that option list. And you should have a view stream on Facebook option. Because it is streaming to two places, but the actual meeting is where you were. This is to my personal page, and it is the actual meeting, but it's being streamed by Zoom directly, which is going to help us answer your thought. Your thought was
it says content's not available from the link.
I've got it.
Why don't you put Marty, put the link in the chat, would you?
You know, if it's on your personal page, I bet it's because you don't have me listed as.
I made it public. I'm pretty sure I did public. Let me go.
I have it on my screen, Jeff. This is what I'm seeing from Facebook page.
Yeah. Edit. Live. Yeah, it's there.
I got to it through Facebook, not through the link on the top of the Zoom meeting.
The link isn't working, but I can see it on Facebook.
Okay, so as long as the one you're looking at on the bottom right corner of it has the Zoom logo watermark, that will be the one that we're testing against. And
I see it.
So the question is, well, I mean, some notices. I mean, in quick review, in Zoom. Now, the question, the big initial question is, what gets streamed? Like, what decides is the source that's going to get streamed, right? That's a super important piece of information to know when you're streaming directly out of Zoom. And that is, the answer is the content of the host computer. And it's the host's primary monitor. And so that would be their first physical screen, and also if Zoom is running in dual monitor mode, it's going to be the first window, the natural default window versus the secondary window. Now, go ahead.
Can you switch to gallery view, or are you set in speaker view? Right now, it's speaker view.
I think you're still looking at the wrong stream, quite honestly, Lois. If you look at Ray's video inside the Zoom meeting, that's the stream we're looking at. It is in gallery view right now.
Okay, that's weird. I think I'll just be in Zoom and ignore the rest of it.
Okay. I would say, you know, if Ray you keep your screen showing, if you would, then those who aren't the live stream itself, it will at least be a reference for us. All right, so it's streaming directly, the second stream, because I'm doing it twice, right? But this main stream from Zoom directly, going to my personal Facebook page, is showing the gallery view. As the host of this meeting, gallery view. And now the only difference is see everybody. I have not turned on hide non-video users. So I see everyone that's in this meeting right now, whether it's their name, their profile picture, or a live video. But by natural result, a stream out of Zoom moves non-video users. I don't have to do a thing to achieve that, and that's its natural result. and if somebody did it, if you turn your video off, if you mute your video and watch the stream, you'll see that you'll disappear from the stream, and then you can come back. And so that's a natural behavior of it. If I, as the host, if I go to speaker view, I've done that now. Now we need to, do we have any spotlights on? There we go. So now it's in speaker view on my desktop and out there on the stream. I don't know what's happened to this. I just got sidetracked. The stream, I look a little washed out color-wise, but in Zoom, I look like I've been dealing with this for a few days now. The colors or the blacks and the whites are just getting crushed, and I don't know what the heck's going on, but I don't know if it's Zoom, because I can get things all tuned in on vMix really good, and it has like almost no representation to what it looks like in Zoom.
You're looking about the same to me on
Really?
both Zoom and Facebook stream.
So
Is
if
that
you
affected at all,
if you
Jeff?
looked at me in Zoom,
Is that
not the
affected at
stream.
all by what I'm sending you to see?
Well, it's
'Cause-
both, like, because I'm looking at like the YouTube stream, I'm looking at my Mac that's logged in, and I'm looking at a PC that's also logged in that's doing the streaming, and they all just have this just kind of horrible look. Now, the stream that I'm doing directly to my Facebook page, that actually, it's brighter, but it looks better than all the other pictures I'm seeing on my screens. It's really bizarre. Anyways, back to where we were headed. Speaker view, we're there. I'm going to go back to gallery view. I'm going to, we've already confirmed in the past that streaming didn't used to support this, but it does now support multi-spot lighting. And so we'll see on this stream that Lois and Marty will be multi-spot lit. And that used to be a real huge deal to me, but that is supported now. And so let's get to this test based on this new feature. I'm going to go to gallery view on my computer. We're going to wait for the stream to display that. And now I'm going to select on my desktop stop. Anybody want to put bets on what happens? I have no idea. I have a guess, but I don't.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
No, it has been changed.
I still see everybody.
It's taking a while to catch up.
Yeah.
No, I would guess it is not.
I don't think it
is
changed.
not respecting that, which might be a savior for a host who has turned that off and didn't want to totally blow their stream up. I don't know. It's not obvious what the results are going to be.
How many screens do you have going, Jeff? I'm wondering if it was a single screen person, if it might react differently.
I on my host machine, I always run it in single monitor mode. I have 3 monitors, but Zoom is set up to be run in single monitor mode only. And so everything I do, spotlight, gallery, everything, all is in one Zoom window. So I see my live video in Zoom, but everybody else's video has been turned off. It didn't make any difference on the stream, and so now I'm going to turn that mode back off. Start incoming video is now on. Something changed. I don't know if that was coincidental. Somebody, maybe Josh, I think, might have turned. No, he's still here.
Something changed. I don't know if that was coincidental. Somebody, maybe Josh.
So, not. I would have probably lost money on that one. I would have thought that the stream followed the host as well, but they decided not to have it do that if the host turns off all incoming video. So that was I think that's a good nugget of info to be aware of, that if for some reason you're the host and you're streaming and you know, hey, you're it, don't you dare your screen because you're going to mess up the stream. Fact is you could in fact turn off all incoming video and the stream will still live as designed. I would guess that if I did, let me do a dual spotlight. I'll spotlight Marty and Lois, and now I will wait for the stream to catch up. There we go. Everybody see two? I see two now, and I'm going to stop incoming video. So I see on my Zoom, they both went to their static representation. On the stream, they're still dual spotlit and live video. Maybe that's a safety net. Love to be a fly on the wall when they make these decisions, but I would guess that's probably a safety net. So I'm going to start the videos back up, remove all spotlights.
And I think George has his hand up a little bit ago.
Did you say George?
Yeah, sorry, I jumped
there's
away
George.
for a sec. Hi, Jeff.
Hello.
Nice to be here again. I went into the Facebook link. That's what I raised my hand about, and I got it's private.
Yeah, I saw myself because when I set it up, I'm going to go ahead and stop the stream and kill that. And then if I go live on Facebook, yeah, it's going to intercept me. Yeah, and it's still, all the setup is still there, and it says who should see this, and the choices are public, friends, or only me, and it's still on the choice of public, which I selected, but it doesn't that doesn't seem to carry out when it actually gets streamed.
And I tend not to use Facebook very much, so it was a new login. And I tried it twice and got the same results both times.
Yeah, interesting. I'll go and look at the saved video post and confirm that it made it private, even though I selected public. Because most of my posts are friends only, you know, but that one I went ahead and actively chose public. Go ahead, Lois.
The Zoom Test Kitchen video is still going. It's no problem, and it's
that's a all there. It's and that was meant to be that way. But I wanted to do the test when you had brought the point up. Hey, will that affect the stream? Yeah. And I couldn't test that with my existing stream because it's capturing the whole meeting instead of direct from Zoom. So okay.
And I believe the one on the Zoom Test Kitchen is speaker view only. I haven't seen it switch to gallery view at all. I've got it tucked away in the corner.
Yeah, no, that's true. It's on a separate laptop over here. It's the machine that's logged into this meeting called Streamer, and I'm not managing that. It's just on speaker view, and it'll show shares and or active speaker. But it should have caught the multi-spotlight, but then it goes back to active speaker. Yeah. So, okay. Yeah, Robert.
Jeff, I've been watching the bandwidth stats like Marty mentioned earlier on, and I'm at around 7 megabits per second at the moment to receive when I have everything on. And when I cut it off, it drops down to about 250. So there's a dramatical change there. Now,
on the download.
On the download, but this will affect the upload, because if you're getting lost packets on the download, and you're going to be sending requests to resend on the upload all the time. So it's going to take additional bandwidth from your upload. And I've just been thinking about the use case here. And I've realized that sometimes when we do tests with speakers before a big meeting, the quality is okay. Then you get all the people in the event and the speaker starts having problems. I've never been able to figure that out. And maybe this is one of those options that will help resolve that issue. Because the speaker himself won't have to look at everyone that he's speaking to at the time he's speaking, but his camera will be on and his audio will be good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Robert?
Yeah, I do tend to believe that, I mean, you'll have to teach. It's more training, more teachable moments, right, for speakers. But I could definitely see it as beneficial for a speaker. There's other speakers who go, no, I want to see the crowd that I'm talking to, because they engage better that way, and they can receive that feedback, whether it's they're all looking down or playing on their phones, or they're unengaged versus engaged as well. So yeah, I think we'd get a very, set of preferences on that. But if one was to simply be isolated, I don't like to see myself speak personally, because normally we can't do it without seeing the lag and the latency as well, and that can mess with people. Yeah, Lois.
So question on what Robert was just talking about. When I am in and someone is speaking and their voice starts breaking up, is that going to be something that I hear it in my ears, so I know I'm hearing it on my computer. Is that something that's going to be for everybody, or is it incoming to the person who's looking at it? I don't know if I'm asking that question well, but
No, you're asking it with enough information, and it's one of those depends, right? And that is, it depends on who's the one struggling with the bandwidth, right? So if you're an attendee and your bandwidth is for some reason really struggling to provide you enough download bandwidth to listen and watch, then it would just be you hearing that. If it was the presenter, on the other hand, which I would say is probably more commonly the case, it's the presenter, because they've got, they're sharing PowerPoints or they're sharing video as well and so forth. So they have higher requirements on the upload, and most households have lower upload bandwidth availability than they do download. That's just the way they build it for the most part, right? Because we shop more than we deliver, if you will. And so if they're the one struggling with the bandwidth, then everybody will hear that stuttering audio and video as well. An immediate fix for that is what do we presume is consuming more bandwidth, video or audio? And the easy answer is video. And so, sometimes it's a really good practice to make sure that your presenters have an attractive, acceptable profile picture in their Zoom profile, because the fastest, easiest fix is for them to simply mute their camera and just show a nice picture of them and continue to talk and present, because that will instantly fix a stuttering audio issue caused by the presenter's bandwidth. There's telling everybody else to turn off video, incoming video, I don't believe is going to do a doggone thing for that presenter, because the presenter's video and audio is only serving one customer, and that's the Zoom server. And then the Zoom server services everybody else. And so it really doesn't make a big diff if everybody else, makes changes when it's the upload bandwidth struggle from the presenter themselves. Yeah.
so
Go ahead, Liz.
if I understand you correctly, if there's a group of people such as there is right here, I'm in gallery view, I'm listening to people, if one person and not the rest of them is having sound issues, then it's probably the problem of that person's setup. If everybody's having sound issues, it's probably my problem. Is that what I'm getting?
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. If somebody, kind of shouts out loud or whatnot, or if you're just chat in a large event, somebody will bound to type in, hey, video looks like garbage or whatever. and you'll usually see others immediately say either affirm it or deny it, because they'll just give the, hey, working good for me, hey, working good for me, and now that's an isolated issue, that's their bandwidth or their computer struggling to process the video, and unless you get the supportive messages where everybody begins to go, and then that's a presenter issue, and pretty easy to isolate it, fairly quickly, and then it's a matter of being ready to yeah, George.
One of the ways you can check if you're doing rehearsals, Lois, is look at the recording in post. And typically, if it's just one person as an audience member, you won't see that ripple in post. Like when you bring down a recording, if it is a ripple, chances are it's going to be the presenter. And to your point, Jeff, about putting up a decent image, I was at a tech conference the other day, and the tech, his image that he had was ball cap backwards, flannel shirt, hanging out doing the bro thing. And he came up in the middle of the conference right after the president of Microsoft Canada. It looked absolutely horrific.
It's always the thing I do right before I sign on a job, if you will, and that is bring up my profile picture. So even preceding that, a new habit that I've had to get into a short few months ago, I took it seriously, and Josh Kaufman reminded me of it, popping up on my top left corner, and that is because of Zoom events. Zoom events finally answered a pretty popular question, want, desire for the ability for people to stop sharing Zoom links with their friends and family, and everybody can just use them. I mean, truly, on Zoom and Zoom events cured that, because when somebody gets a ticket with a link, whether it's a free ticket or paid ticket, that's theirs, and that's theirs only. That ticket URL is absolutely unique to the email address that's associated to their Zoom account. And unless they want to give away their Zoom credentials to their neighbors, no one else is using that. Now, that's a great answer, especially when it's like a paid for ticket, right? You don't want one person to buy it and then share it with everybody else. The flip side of that is what I'm speaking to, this new habit I've had to get into, is when Chrome and other browsers, the Zoom client, you may not even see or pay attention to it anymore, but when you end this meeting today and it goes back to the Zoom login dialog, click on your profile picture and tell it to sign out, and see where you end up. Now, you'll end up with a login screen. The question is will it be pre-populated with the check remove me? And that's what I've undone in my life with Zoom, because far too many times I've clicked on a link in an email to a Zoom meeting, or from a calendar invite to a Zoom meeting, which conveniently goes into Chrome in my world. It pops up Chrome and says, hey, I want to open this, in Zoom, yeah, that's super convenient. Well, the question is did Chrome just remember your Zoom login, your last Zoom login to zoom.us? Then when it gets to the Zoom client on your machine, has the client also remembered the last login that you were logged in with? Have anything to do with the account that you need to be logging in with right now?
Exactly.
And so that's where you end up with one. I used to end up in jobs under this wrong account, a whole different Zoom account, for instance, and a whole different profile picture, and I'm just like, dang it, and I'm like having to escape out of it and log out. Zoom events give you an error, right? That says, the account associated with this ticket is not the one you're trying to come in as, which is total proof in the pudding that you're logged into the Zoom client under an account that is not associated to the account of that ticket. And so it's just caused me to tell everything to stop remembering my behalf for the sake of convenience, so that I have to be verbose about it and log into the client with the account I want to be logged in as, and so forth. I don't know. Anybody else experienced that or made changes, George?
Yeah, great point. And yes, I have made some changes. One of the things I think is worth remembering is that Zoom is pushing hard into industries like financial services. And one of the keynotes that I saw at Zoomtopia was talking about authentication and how important that is. And they're talking about authentication through a third party as well, so that when you go into your Zoom account, they really know it's you. If I'm having a conversation with my financial advisor, I really want to know that, or if I'm the advisor, that really is George at the end of that line. And that's where they're moving. And I think if you look at their big ones, education, healthcare, financial services, did I miss any? Government? I think those are the top 4 for those guys. And who are you is going to become a huge issue. I'm delighted that they're doing it, frankly.
Yeah. And I, I mean, I would love to know the detail and the steps, because Zoom's not going to prove it. I mean, Zoom certainly doesn't have the process to prove it, right? I mean, it's kind of like, it has to be kind of like, the bank, that one source that took your application and your thumbprint and your driver's license and, really authenticated that it was you at one point. Because that's not the level. I'm sure Zoom wants to support it, but I'm not confident that they're going to be the ones building it. It needs to be that third party. But then, then that third party becomes the world's target of hackers and so forth as well. So get you kind of nervous about that too.
Right. They did say it was not in their wheelhouse, but it was something that was necessary part. So
yeah.
And they did, and I can't remember which service they used as an example offhand, but they said, this is the direction, this is going, proof of identity for meetings that matter.
Yeah, for sure. And, a lot of organizations have, single sign-on, but that's within their org only, not from outside guests. So, all right.
Hey, Josh has got his hand up there.
Oh, no, he just put that up for decoration. I'm pretty confident.
Okay.
What's up, Josh?
I was going to just tallying off of your thread about how the sign-on behavior reacts. I had a question recently about it as far as how the behavior reacts, and you mentioned how you turned off the check to automatically sign you in on the client side. So that's the Zoom app on your computer. Now, I've noticed that depending on, say, in Chrome has the ability to have different sign-ons. You can have a different logon in a different browser group, have different logons, and I've noticed the difference of changing. There's 3 factors here. You could either log in from one Chrome that's logged into a certain ID or a different one, or what is your
let's
client?
see if we're on the same wavelength here. I think when you say a certain ID, Chrome has this new support for profiles, right? So when I log in as jwidgren at Gmail, that's its own Chrome profile. I put it in blue, actually, and as far as its color theme, and then my other one is Jeff at streamsharks.com. It's red, and I think that's what you're talking about, right? Is
correct.
Based on that profile, what has that profile remembered as far as logins? Okay, cool.
Yeah, I think like if you open up, say you get an email, and you get it in Jeff, say you get it in your personal email address, so it's in that profile tab, you would think that you open up in that tab, you would expect Zoom to open up in that client. But then again, what if there's a third option then? What if the client itself is logged into a third account for you? What is the behavior of Zoom, will it default to the client? Will it default to what's launched on the browser? I want to say that if you're not logged in as a client, the Windows application on your computer, I want to say that it'll go by which profile you launched it from in Chrome. I'm fairly certain about that.
I believe you're right on that.
I'm
I
not
don't know
certain
if the
about if
client
there's a conflict.
overrides the Chrome memory. I think it may, but I'm way more positive Chrome's memory provides the client the account info, not whatever it needs to get you into the Zoom client if it doesn't have its own memory of which to log into. I think because I've had that happen. That's why I think, gosh, whose fault was this? Chrome's or the client, and even when I started telling the client to stop remembering, login info. The other thing, the other crossover challenge for me is if I'm logged into my personal email account, I want to see my calendar from Streamsharks and vice versa. Because I need to know, do I have any personal conflicts while I'm considering scheduling something for business, or the other way around? And then if the link is inside the calendar invite, then which browser, right? And so am I about, did I open a calendar invite that is meant to be a personal meeting, or did I open a invite in my personal profile, but it's meant to be a business meeting? And therefore it'll open up in the Chrome personal profile versus the business. And so, yeah, I don't have it absolutely nailed down. I'm getting some ideas on, I think it's going to a great degree, become personal workflows and habits, understanding it, but I haven't found any.
Yeah, I believe I have gotten a dialogue whenever I launched something from Chrome on an different than the client. And sometimes it'll give you an account that says, would you like to sign in? I've seen that pop up before. I don't know if it'll always happen that way or if it gives that. Robert seems to be shaking his head there.
Is the little checkbox when you're setting up a meeting that says authentication influence this in any way? Because that checks if you're logged in with the same account on your app.
I mean, that checkbox, as I understand it, at least assures that you can't get in my meeting without being Zoom authenticated, but not to a specific account necessarily, but at least Zoom authenticated.
If we're not talking about Zoom events, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So Jeff?
Yeah, Lois.
You're really good at making up stuff. How about if you make up something that every time you...
Not quite sure how to take that, Lois.
This whole thing has been a farce.
Come on. You guys are so creative. How about if there's some way that you can set an action for you here, so that when you open a calendar item, you automatically get something that says, and which client do you want to be today? I don't know it may not exist already, but you guys are really good at that stuff. Maybe you can figure out a way to make that choice be there for calendar Zoom link.
Yeah, I think our active battle right now are so many of these convenience features, right, that have been, remember me in the Zoom client, remember, passwords in browsers and wallets and our phones, and and it's not just remember. The part that really gets me about like centralizing and building literally a database of all the URLs to my usernames to my passwords is then some of these apps will pre-populate when they know that you're on that site. They'll pre-populate your username and password and log you in. Well, what the heck good was having a layer of security, and if you've now provided that opportunity because of this third-party app that knows everything about your, usernames, passwords, and where you are in the browser. It's really baffling to me that is kind of an acceptable feature. You may as well not, you may as well think to stop, requiring logins, but needless to say, it's tough. All right, there is another.
Go back to that one feature that we were talking about right from the beginning. Jeff, do you know if this feature is available for webinars?
The video, the shutting off the incoming video?
Because it's just occurred to me that, Zoom has this option for webinars that you can force everyone to receive 1080p. And then some poor guy at the other end just has a really bad internet connection and he just can't see anything or understand anything. And this is giving him a chance to switch all of the stuff off and listen in.
Which would be also, you could phone in if you were in that situation, if you were the poor guy at the end with the bad connection.
Trying to find this release note. On the 15th, release notes. Let me get this up on screen. I want to test this one next. This optional reclaim host when rejoining. I'm the host, and I've been here. I was in, and I was literally, my fingers were on the buttons to spotlight two new faces, and that was unbelievable timing. That moment, let's just say the person with the company who started the meeting and then handed it to us, the hired help, had left the meeting. I didn't even recognize it. And had given host to somebody. I don't remember which one. There were two moderators in there, me and somebody else. Left the meeting and then rejoined it. And the behavior was, hey, Jeff, you're now nothing but an attendee. And that person who came back, who was the original host, is now the host. So I was handcuffed. I could no longer do my job. And for a moment, I didn't know why. And then I realized what happened. Then I started chatting with the person with no response for like 3 minutes. And I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. It was unbelievable. So this it looks like, when the original host of the meeting rejoins, they're given the option to reclaim host controls or remain as a participant or a co-host in order to not disrupt the current host. I want to test it to make sure it's real. It says, scheduled for
Jeff,
the 14th, so that should be there. Yeah.
You notice it's the returning host, have the option. This is not something you get to set up when you set up the meeting, unfortunately.
No, this
As
is
they
just
come in, they can choose what to do.
Yeah, so I'm going to give somebody host here in a minute, and then I'm going to the meeting, and I'm going to come back to the meeting and anticipate that I'm going to be displayed these choices, and I'll come back in as a participant or a co-host and not interrupt the host.
Jeff, just before you do that, don't give anyone host, just leave. You'll see an interesting feature there.
If I do that, I'll tell you who's.
Usually
there's a timeout. There's this timeout period first. Like if I leave, it will very quickly hand host. In this case, it'll hand it to David because David was the first one to join the meeting and he's co-host as well. But if I were to disable my network card and have this abrupt departure from the meeting, I don't know what the timing is, but I will tell you what happens, and that is it won't immediately assign somebody host. It'll give me this time to come back. and it's a few seconds, but my client recognizes that interruption, and it kind of goes into this oh crap mode because it recognized that immediate unanticipated interruption, not a departure from the meeting with intention. And it immediately tries to get back to the meeting with credentials and everything. Like, you know, it's not an interactive process. It's an immediate spring back, fast enough to where the timeout from the meeting itself actually survives. No one became host. I get right back in there and I'm host. Almost like nothing happened. But yeah, I will. So I won't. I don't have to assign, but I'm confident. Well, David,
You want to
away from,
stop
David,
sharing
are
though?
you still there and listening? Otherwise, this is going to roll over to David as host, which is fine. But yeah, go ahead, Lois, before I do anything.
Can you share so we can see each other better?
Oh yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. All right. So here we go. I'm going to leave the meeting. I would suspect that David will be given host. I'll leave for about 1 minute to make sure all wait periods kind of pass and somebody becomes the host.
And Dave are around, correct?
I don't think he's around.
I don't see David.
But there are some other co-hosts here.
So, Jeff, if you make David not a co-host anymore, then it'll forward to someone else.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I think Ray was second to join, so he'll probably get there. Remove co-host. Yeah, it'll probably be Ray. Oh, actually, it'll be one of my
Jeff's
other shows.
OSC is the next one.
Yeah, I see that, and I don't need to. Today, I don't have to.
Yeah,
be
I'm sure
co-host
you
on
could
that.
just assign someone.
So
I know.
now Ray, it'll fall to Ray. I'd rather have it
Just
fall.
assign a host.
Kind of count the time. See how long it takes to make the switch. I'm going to go ahead and leave the meeting. 3, 2, 1. Oh, it popped up. I forgot about that. It says, who do you want to assign? It's like, I don't want to assign. You do it. It does select Ray by default, but I do have the whole list in front of me. All right, here we go. Bye.
And started
And
the
now we're
clock.
free
Ray
to
is
talk about
now
it.
in charge. Yeah.
Finally,
So
no
what do you
one's in
Lois,
charge.
do?
Lois, you're in charge. We know
I'm-
that.
Okay, well, if I'm in charge, does anyone have any more questions on some topic for our Zoom test kitchen?
Yeah, where's Jeff?
Jeff who?
Right.
Jeff where? Yeah.
I had my participants tab open when that happened, and Ray instantly became host.
Oh, yeah. And now Jeff's back and he's a co-host.
I see that. Right.
I like keeping that participants panel open so I can see what's going on.
So, and what I get is I get a drop down that says make him host.
But you don't have to.
No.
Oh, nice.
It's an
So
option.
that option came up to me,
Mhm.
and as soon as I see his camera, I will make him host. Otherwise, I'm not sure it's him.
Don't do that.
Don't do that. Just
Ray.
Okay.
let's see what
Because-
happens.
Jeff should have the option.
There we go.
of
Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah, but we
Yes,
we
but
hear
on
that-
OS.
I'm talking to you from my Mac right now.
Right, that's
So
on
when
OSC.
when I'm rejoining, I'm looking at the prompt right now, and it says Ray Franklin is currently host. Reclaiming host may disrupt breakout rooms, polls, and screen share. Do you want to reclaim host, or there's another button that says stay co-host? So
Stay co-host.
I just wanted to share that message it's right across the top of my Zoom window. So I'll join back as co.
So
What's
what
that?
happens if Ray was sharing the screen when you come back?
Doesn't
Hopefully, if he's not revoked from his being host, then he should retain it.
yeah.
I'm still host.
Yeah, so I came back in as co-host intentionally, so I wouldn't interrupt shares and polls and breakout rooms and so forth. If I were to say, yeah, reclaim host, that's where the problems come from. if there's been a host there on your behalf or replacement, and they're in the middle of breakout rooms, polls, and what was the other one? Sharing. That can cause some significant disruption, let alone managing a meeting, spotlighting and so forth.
So now, Jeff, if you wanted to reclaim host now, is there an option there, or do you have to go out and come back in again to get the prompt?
No, there's still an option. Now, when I give away host, in the past, when I've given away host and I remain in the meeting, it has presented a button under the participants list that is reclaim host. This time, it's still at the bottom of participants, but you have to click on the 3 dots, and that's where reclaim host remains. So I'm going to go ahead and reclaim host, and now I'm host. Now Ray is an attendee. I'll make him co-host again. And but now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pass host and see if that does change to a button instead, like it used to, or if that's changed across the board. So Ray, I'm going to make you host. Say yes. Yeah. And so the 3 dots are no longer available. I know why.
Is your participant?
When I came back as a co-host, which has the privileges to the options under the triple dots, such as allow people to unmute and so forth. Right now, because I gave away host, I have no privileges. Therefore, there's no need for the triple dots. Therefore, there's a button that says reclaim host. Okay. Good
So
call, Lois.
Jeff, just so you know, when you were coming back in, we saw your image and it was, silent, no video, but we saw that for a long time before you started talking.
Yeah, that's because I was trying to talk to you on my Mac, and I finally had to dig in deeper into my audio and realize that my mic volume was turned all the way down in Zoom. And so then I turned that up and I talked to you. So, yeah, I kept going, you guys hearing me? No one. It's like, okay.
Yeah, and Jeff, did you say that you did have, as a non-co-host, you do have a button to reclaim it and not the ...
Correct. Yeah, because when I gave away host, I gave away everything until they make me co-host, right? So when I'm just an attendee, I'm just like everybody else in the meeting, that you don't have triple dots, because the triple dots are all those options for allow participants to unmute themselves, turn the video on, things like that. So they have no need to show me those triple dots. When I came back from being gone, I came back as a co-host. Therefore, I needed those triple dot options, and so that's where they put reclaim host also, because it's in exactly the same real estate space. It's either a triple dots button or it's a reclaim host button, and if there's only one option, because you're not a host of any sort, then it's just a reclaim button instead of a drop down list. Okay.
There can be only one owner of a meeting. Is that correct?
There's the creator, I guess, the actual meeting creator, who actually scheduled the meeting. There can only be one of those. That's kind of the master account holder. But there can only ever be one host, true host, that carries a few more privileges than co-host, such as starting streams and breakout rooms and polls. There's
my question is, the only reason you are seeing that reclaim host is because you created the meeting, right?
Yeah. I created.
Can you have only one creator?
That's correct.
No.
Well, you can have alternate. You can have delegates, if you will, if they're in your same organization, and like this account comes from at the DVE store, right? And so my account is part of his organization, and so if that were the case, if Guy was here, Guy can start a Zoom test kitchen anytime he wants to, and or I can, because not only are we a part of the same organization, but I've also designated him as an alternate host in the meeting scheduler. And because both of those things are true, the third one's really important too, is that my designated alternate host is part of the same org of a paid account, and then he has all those rights too. So he would have the same experience I leaving and being able to reclaim and the whole bit as an alternate host to the same org.
He bump you right now?
No, I don't think he has the power to bump me. He can join the meeting and he'll automatically become a co-host because he's the same org and a designated alternate host. He doesn't have the power to bump me. I mean, he might have the power behind the scenes to kill the meeting.
No, I mean the button.
Because he's the master account owner. Below him, but I don't know that even for sure.
I'm the master account owner on our business account. It's not an enterprise account, it's a business account. But I can't affect any of the meetings of the other license holders that have set up meetings.
I will share this. Carmen has left. She was with us earlier. But Carmen, she had posted a week and a half ago. She had a webinar job coming up, and she hadn't been inside webinar for quite a while, to where she was a little nervous, wanted to kind of warm up to it and so forth. And so I volunteered to fire up a webinar for her and give her control and just have a playground for a few hours if she wanted it. Ran into, she was in Nashville. I scheduled it to also include a practice session, and she did everything there, and then she clicked on, start the webinar in the practice session, right? and that pops up a small prompt, do you want to start the webinar? And she said confirmed yes on that, and it just looped back to you're in the practice session, and it would not start the webinar. And so that, and then it happened to her. Well, that happened to her in my practice webinar. Then it also happened to her on the job. And it also happened to the other moderator who was in that job with her. He couldn't start the webinar either. So that's a really tough one for me, because I would have, if she would have never told me that the other moderator for hire couldn't start it either, I said this is a you problem, because it happened to 2 webinars from 2 completely separate accounts, and the problem is consistent from your computer. But then she added that extra element that the other person couldn't either. I'll just say that happened to be an oddity at the end of the day, but because the fix that fixed her is the fix that fixed his system as well. So, but here was the deal. This is the part I wanted to share. I got on the phone with support at Zoom, because this enterprise account, I can get somebody on the phone within 30 seconds. It's amazing. And they started, taking some info, and I was giving them some detail, and he said, was it trying to be done on a paid or an unpaid account? I said, I don't know the answer to that. And he said, do you know the email? I said, well, maybe. So I gave him the email of her that I knew, and he looked it up. He found it. He says, oh, it's a pro account. And so he was able to quickly reference that. Then he referenced the webinar. He tested it in that webinar, and he was able to start a webinar, all from the support desk. The webinar from another account, not her account. He went in as her account, but the webinar account was hosted by somebody else, right? That was the customer. And it's like, wow, you guys are like super powerful, So he could see where she worked and what webinar account that was hers, went in her, and it started the webinar session and I'm like, that's pretty incredible that you were able to actually do and accomplish that. But what we came down to was to suggest to her to, he had a set of instructions of a little bit more thorough removal of the Zoom client at the file level even. I would rather uninstall and reinstall first to see if it fixes it, because I hate losing my settings on Zoom. Because if you do a complete, manual, they have an uninstaller which will deep clean the uninstall, but you lose all your settings, and so and that's what she did. She did a reinstall of the client. She was on the latest version even, but just the uninstall and reinstall fixed it. I gave her another webinar. It worked fine, so, and then her cohort of that day did the same thing, and it fixed theirs as well. So it was kind of, we're experiencing the same thing at the same time, but it did end up, and I've ran into that once many months ago, but I never really knew what the problem was, and I'm assuming one of the upgrades must have fixed my computer along the way. Yeah, Lois.
Totally change of subject. Your image has been fairly gray most of the day, but 2 minutes ago, it brightened up. I don't know what changed. You were in the middle of talking, but it changed.
I see myself on Zoom now, and I'm fine with what it's looking like. It's pretty darn close to what I see on vMix. vMix is a little bit more washed out, but that doesn't surprise me because Zoom always has introduced more blacks. But yeah, very interesting. Maybe they heard me and they fixed it. I don't know.
Jeff, if we can just change topics again.
Yep.
You read the warning message when you were coming back into the meeting that coming back and reclaiming host could disrupt breakout rooms. Can we do that unless you know exactly what's going to happen?
Yeah, I don't know. So yeah, absolutely. That's what the kitchen is all about. So let's.
So you can set up breakout rooms.
There's a break and share. And what was the third one?
Polls.
Yeah, sharing polls and breakouts, I think, is what they noted. I'll do a screen capture on the way back in this next time too. But I think I'm just going to leave, and then Ray, I'll make you host, unless somebody else wants to run with this demo. Robert, do you want to run with the demo?
No, my feeling is different, because I've run into this situation where I've had a co-host and I didn't have issues. My feeling is that this will happen if you don't have an allocated co-host.
He will have to choose somebody as he leaves.
Yeah, I can't leave without choosing somebody.
Right, you can kill yourself.
I can do.
Let me translate for Robert. What he means is that if you forcibly remove yourself from the meeting, then yes, it'll supposed to do its succession of who gets the host. Supposed to. We had a weird situation in After Hours the other day. What happened? It was the weirdest thing. There was a meeting with no host.
Yeah.
Well, that's not weird. That's common.
If the meeting allows join before host joins, then you can absolutely have a 30-hour meeting without a host.
Yep.
Until somebody shows up, because I think when we first met Lois, that's the way you were operating, right? You would show up to a meeting, you had the host key. Yeah, yep. You claimed host, you had the key, you typed it in, and you were host. It's definitely doable, but I'm looking up a setting right now, because there's also a new setting that that basically says upon the host getting unexpectedly ripped out of the meeting, send everybody to the waiting room. And they never used to have that option before. And because what would happen was this succession would kick in.
Yep.
And if I was the host and there were no co-host, the first participant would become host. And it's like I think there were enough people who said, there is no way we ever want a participant attendee in our meeting to become also powerful, right, as host. And so now we can choose. But I need to
Like, psst,
go
you
ahead
want
and
to take
check
a
yourselves.
make
I want to find this and I'll share it with you when I do.
take over the meeting. Make sure you're in early for Test Kitchen. Then we're gonna off Jeff, and then Zoom will give you host.
And then when he comes back in,
I found
remove him permanently.
yeah. Here it is.
It has been changed a lot since the early days.
So under settings, under edit options of the waiting room, there's now an option. This has gotten a bit richer, that's for sure. But if you go to the bottom there's this new option. I don't know when it came out, a while ago. If the host and co-host are not present, or if they lose connection during a meeting, I don't think this is checked by default. I'm pretty sure I checked it. Move participants to the waiting room if the host dropped unexpectedly. So that would be an abrupt disconnect, right? So I'm happy to simulate that. And
this is Tlaloc. I'm sorry I don't have my camera on, but Josh, I just wanted to point out that I think one of the things about after hours is that Alex never wants there not to be a host. Mm-hmm. Right? Because it's an 090 account. So there has to be, it has to lock down a lot more. So it's important that they set it up that way so that if a host leaves, it ends the meeting.
So what you're saying is
it was you saying the opposite, Josh, is you guys were all there.
Yeah, that one moment that happened in a weird way, but I think all the other times we've had it where somebody doesn't realize they're a host and they leave, the meeting is done.
Gotcha.
It was an anomaly. There's just like one time Alex started office hours and after hours continued.
Yeah.
It from the same account.
Yeah. That was
normally.
Weird.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you were there.
Yeah.
And you were there, and you were there.
So if you start a meeting without a host, which we frequently do because who knows who's going to be able to be there that day. Once someone becomes a host, like I'll go in and claim host in order to do recording or whatever, but once someone becomes host, that meeting will never run without a host. Always devolve to the next person and the next person. And we got to a situation where the last person on wasn't there. And not only was he not present in front of his computer was on, he had, left the building. And it blocked things for a while, for about half a day, until someone figured out how to kill that meeting where he was the host and nobody else could do anything about it. That has been fixed. Zoom does not put you in that situation anymore.
Maybe we could with another expression except kill, maybe for the rest of the
What?
Kill the meeting? There's nothing wrong with it.
Kill the meeting is fine. People
very PC.
Just saying. Yeah.
Kill the instance.
So I think so. My option was already set to send everybody to the waiting room. So if I'll let Brandon in there real quick, and then.
But that's going to kill your stream, Jeff.
No.
Yeah.
No, my stream is it's coming from a machine that's part of this meeting. So I mean, it'll change the stream to the waiting room, but that's all.
How is the stream going to log back in then?
It'll get it'll get sent to the waiting room just like all of you will, and to the meeting. Then I'll be letting everybody back into the meeting, including the streaming computer.
So he says.
Well, I might not let a.
So all of us that use the word kill. So you got to open some breakout rooms, Jeff, so that we can see what happens.
Yeah, but I don't think I want to open those. I want to
You want
the
to
test
leave
here is
first.
I don't want to be the one that configured them. I want to be the disappearing host. Someone else is the host. They create, they've created the environment, the
So we
breakout
get
rooms
two
or
tests.
whatnot. And so they all have, so create a couple breakout rooms, have it, some people go there, and then also have a share open. And I'll watch you from my Mac. I'll be a part of it that way. And then just, once I see that everything's kind of there and ready, then I'll come reconnect. And the whole purpose of this test is for me to reconnect while I reclaim host, right? Because that's the potential interruptive reentry.
Are you going to do the first test of kicking us all into the waiting room first, or are you going to do the second test where somebody else is host?
Well, let's, I think we'll finish what we started if we do the host departure and coming back in as host to share breakout rooms. And then we can do the waiting room piece of it as well. Does that sound right?
Bye, Jeff.
Okay, so that means I leave and assign to Ray. This time it picked Josh. Oh, that's because Ray became an attendee at one point. All right, Ray, I'll assign you again.
Hey, Ray, you want to make me co-host? I want to do some breakout rooms.
Sure.
Maybe
Now we want to
Josh
wait for Jeff to leave. All right, so
He's
Jeff's
gone?
gone. So Lois, I'm going to make Lois a co-host so that you can set up some breakout. All right?
Sounds good.
Set
How
up a
about a
breakout
screen
room.
share?
And somebody else do it. Joe, why don't you do a screen share?
Does he have to be co-host?
Yeah.
He just has to ask for permission, I think.
I think I need to be given permission. I don't think there's an ask for permission. There's no ask for permission. I have to be given it.
No, it
Okay.
has to be turned on in the next to participants. It's probably turned off.
Okay, so you're a co-host now, Joe. Go ahead and
All
share
right,
something.
all right, I'm going to share something.
And I'm going to open the breakout rooms.
I'm going to stay here.
All right, we're seeing your share, Joe. And the
Where's
share just
our-
disappeared.
Our attendance is. The share disappeared.
Did
Or
Joe
he take the share
Did
with
Joe
him?
drop?
No,
No,
he went
Joe's
to
in
one of
room one.
He went into room one with his share.
Did we move him in there, or did he move himself?
No, he must have moved himself.
Lois
Okay.
must have moved him because I don't have the
Whenever the
rooms
breakout
open.
rooms were started, it was requested I go to room 1, and I hit OK.
Okay.
I don't know if that happened to him as well.
Oh, Lois, did you request that Joe go to room 1?
I don't.
She's not gonna answer me. I'm gonna say that's yes. Tell you what, if you want, make one of us that's remaining a co-host so we can do the share thing and invite Jeff back.
It's you, Josh.
I'm listening on my other system. The other breakout rooms right now is I think it was like assigned only because I don't have breakout room options come up at all, so I can't even move to them, which means it was under total host control or versus having the flexibility of just opening them and letting people move between them. Just as a note.
I assigned some people and Joe is in there sharing screen right now. So someone want to share here?
Josh is going to
Josh is
share
doing it?
something here.
Okay, so we've got
Sure.
breakout rooms and we've got shares.
Ray, is you
And
as
be
a
careful what you say about Jeff because he's listening, guys, on that other machine.
Oh, but he's only listening in the main room. I'll go one of the breakout rooms.
That's funny. All right.
What you want, Robert?
You guys are ready for me to jump back in?
No,
Hold
no,
on,
no,
Robert
just,
has a question.
Ray, just as a matter of interest, can you open a second set of breakout rooms that are different from the ones that Lois opened?
No.
I have a choice of breakout rooms, but it brings up only broadcast managed to all, clear
That's-
all rooms, but I can't bring up a new room.
Once the rooms are closed, then we can add things and change things. But the breakout rooms there's only one per meeting, one set.
I was interested in that because you allocated specific people to the breakout room. So I was wondering if you could set up another breakout room with the non-allocated people. And
I can assign you to room 1 or room 2. I cannot create room 3 at this time. Once the rooms are closed, then we can add rooms.
I understand that. I was just wondering because Ray is a different co-host.
Yes,
I don't have that.
Provision.
I don't have. I click on breakout rooms, and all I'm given is the unassigned people, room 1 and room 2.
But there's a
And I can
downward
broadcast.
pointing arrow.
But I cannot. I can close all rooms, or I
Right.
can broadcast message to all.
Yeah.
So Josh, are you going to share screen something?
Sorry, I thought I
You
was.
are sharing the screen.
Are you seeing my screen right now?
Yes, I
yes,
am.
I am. Yes, I am.
Are you seeing the breakout rooms here?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
You ready for me to come back?
Not
Yeah.
just
Who is
yet.
that?
I think you guys are you're delaying it, man. You're delaying it.
Shouldn't we have gone into the waiting room or something like that when he left?
No,
Yes.
we're not doing no.
Oh, we're not trying that.
No. I had a clean departure this time. When I come back and we finish this test, then I'll have a network interrupted departure and we'll do that test.
Okay.
Roger.
We're calling him
Okay, so-
Z-Man.
Josh, did you hear the new phrase that Jeff used? Network
Interrupted.
interrupt.
I love it. I love it. It's Test Kitchen.
Interrupt us.
Correct.
If Jeff comes back soon, because the folks in the rooms are fancy and may leave at any time.
Yeah. Understood.
Yeah.
So are we all set up to let Jeff back?
Yeah.
We have people in breakout.
Screen capture right now of that prompt
Room
getting. There we go.
Okay, so we have people in breakout room 1.
Okay.
I'm sharing a screen, and Jeff,
All right.
whenever you're
I'm
ready,
coming in and I'm reclaiming host on entry.
go ahead and try me.
Okay. Jeff is now host.
And
I'm
I'm
going to
chop
go
liver.
check out room 1 because there's still people in it.
Nothing's changed.
I don't see any breakout room options.
Yeah, because you haven't been allocated. that's
Yeah, you lost all
okay.
your privileges.
Yeah,
Oh, that's right. You were co-host.
because we said you were misbehaving, and so the host came back, and instead of letting you be a co-host,
killed
he
me.
demoted you all the way down. Okay.
Could you stop share, please?
I can stop sharing, sure.
And I will report that in room 1, there was no disruption when he reclaimed host. It didn't stop the share there. It didn't kick anybody out.
Yeah, nothing happened. So that, no, we had it set up to where the host reclaimed host, right? Because Ray was removed.
Right.
But that was the only repercussion because sharing and breakout rooms were not affected.
And the rest of the co-hosts remained co-hosts. He kicked off the host down to participant, but nobody else was affected.
Yeah, but let's include that is Ray losing host and co-host can be a pretty significant repercussion as well if he's the one who's about to broadcast a message or move more people into breakouts or things like that. So and that's what happened to me is I lost all control, right? And and I had an unresponsive new host. But
you made
but I
him
think
co-host,
it's
though.
not breakage as much as handcuffing the previous host.
But you kept him as co-host.
No, I
disappeared.
consciously made him co-host when I arrived.
Afterwards, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. It seems like the thinking of this is that if the host comes back, apparently it's for the assigned the assigned host done something wrong and they need to rescue the room from it. I mean, it's the dramatic. I realize this, but because you'd bump him all the way down to nothing. He doesn't retain co-host privileges, and you then have the privilege from him. The advertised features of interfering with other activities. Now I wonder. Oh, wait, Ray, you weren't sharing, and you didn't. Did you create the breakouts?
I did not. Lois created
Maybe
the
that's the niche. So if would have shared and created the breakouts, perhaps that would have killed his doings. All of his doings.
That might, and we can test it. I think that might come out twofold. I manage meetings, and I don't, under the security shield, I don't allow people to share. That's not the way I allow it to happen. I momentarily give them co-host, let them start their share, and while they're sharing, I kill co-host, right? In that case, I think Ray's share would die upon my reentry. Is that an okay word to describe, Josh? His share would die?
It's worse than kill.
It's
I
just
guess.
a share because the security shield. If I allow participants to share now, Ray or somebody, go ahead and share. Somebody who's not a co-host, share if you're not a co-host, or I'll make somebody a non-co-host.
Robert's not co-host. Joe, good.
Joe is a co-host. Joe is no longer a co-host. All right, so Joe's not a co-host.
And his share did not change.
But his share, he was able to share because he was co-host. And so now I've removed co-host, and it didn't kill the share, but now I'm going to disable the allow participants to share screens. And that kills the share because he's only a lowly participant, if you will. So my thought is if you've allowed somebody to share, checking shares, allow participants to share screen, I don't think it'll create any interruption, no matter whether you're a co-host or a participant on my reentry. But if while I'm gone, you make somebody a co-host so they can start their share, and then you remove co-host while they're sharing, and then I come back in while they're just a participant, I think at that point,
let's try it.
They will probably lose that ability. So here's the trick is, I have to think this through real quick. We want to, the end result is I want the host to no longer be the host when I come back in, therefore becoming a participant, and participants can't share their screen. So we don't check allow participants to share screen. But that host, so Ray, you'll be the host. You'll also be the one who is sharing. Then I'll come back in, knock you down to a participant, and because allow participants to share screen is unchecked, my guess, I don't know for sure, my guess will be that will in fact kill your share on my reentry because you've been demoted to a participant who can't share. Yeah,
but
Lois.
Jeff, right now, if I'm a co-host and I'm sharing and you remove my co-hostness, it doesn't stop my share.
Correct.
Even though it says participants can't share, because I wasn't a participant when I started the share. So I think that it's going to be just the opposite of what you think. So I guess
do you have a Venmo account?
Venmo?
Yeah, PayPal, Venmo. $5, $5 on it.
PayPal. Okay.
Or
PayPal. All right.
or you have to address Jeff as your hostness.
Oh no.
Is that
Or
hostness?
if I win, you have to make me co-host when I'm.
That's funny. All right. Okay. So here's the deal. I'm leaving again. Ray Ray, you will share something, and then I will come back in, reclaim host, just confirm that security says participants can't share, and we'll see
So
who.
are we going to knock out?
Right.
So we'll knock it out. We'll knock out the privilege before you leave.
It's already
privilege
out.
is already off. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I rarely ever have that turned on.
And we'll have him create rooms as well.
We tested that.
Yeah, but we didn't test it for the surrogate host to do it.
Breakout rooms are breakout rooms. Whoever
to
creates
have Ray
them.
create the breakouts. That's true.
Sure.
Well, before other co-hosts
that's actually really true because, well, Ray would at least lose control of the breakout rooms as the host who created them. Where Lois, when you created them, you were a co-host and that role never changed.
Right.
You know, kind of through that departure and reentry. So probably a worthwhile test. Yeah.
Of course, the
Just
other
have Ray-
co-hosts had the same power that I did. I created them, but they all could manage them.
But they weren't removed when the host returned.
That's right.
Yep. Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Ready.
Do two tasks at once. Go ahead.
Yeah, just one variable at a time, I think is.
Okay, so now breakout rooms in progress. Automatically, it brought up the same breakout room list.
Yes,
as
you have to
before.
close the rooms before you can make
Close all rooms.
Yep.
And now I will
recreate or add a room.
So I just added room 3.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm going to go, and now I'm going to share screen.
You want to start the rooms?
I started the
you share?
rooms.
Okay.
Now I'm sharing a screen.
Mm-hmm.
And Jeff is still listening on the Z account.
Mm-hmm.
So who's in breakout rooms, Lois?
They are assigned but not yet opened.
Open.
And you
Somebody
have not
go to
assigned
breakout-
any, but you have not
No.
assigned anyone to the third room.
Right, but people can
Therefore-
go themselves, can't they?
No, not, you didn't recreate the whole thing. You just added a room and it was already saying, assigned rather than.
Okay, so let's go back. I got breakout rooms now.
Do
And
you
I
open
will
breakout rooms?
See, there's delete breakout room.
Just open breakout rooms. That's all you need to do.
I have open breakout rooms.
Okay, so we have room 3, and so you can assign someone to those rooms.
Okay, so Joe is going to get assigned to room 3.
Okay.
And Lois is going to be assigned to room 2. And somebody else needs to go. Robert, you're going to go to room 3.
Looks like Joe's in 3. Yeah.
And
it
now
looks like I'm going to room 2.
There's
I'm
a
gonna
room unassigned, I think is the only one that doesn't have anyone in it.
Do we care? You want me to assign somebody?
Oh, no, never mind. That wasn't a
Yeah.
room. That was the unassigned people.
Okay, so I'm
My
going to
brain
back.
stopped working for a second there.
That's right. I'm going to back to share screen.
Okay, and now Jeff is ready to come back, correct?
Jeff's going to kill my image.
Okay, let's see if he
Oh, we don't want that. Stop that. How do I stop that? I'm gonna mute that room. I'm going to bring up another room.
What are you trying to do?
I'm trying to get rid of this noise.
I don't hear anything.
you're not sharing
you
audio
don't.
with.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not sharing your audio.
All right.
Okay.
Here I come.
Here comes Jeff. There goes Ray.
Ray who?
Exactly.
Okay. So he's still sharing. That hasn't stopped. The breakout rooms haven't stopped.
Ray has been demoted. Now, Ray, you've lost control of everything, correct?
But he's still sharing. It
You're
didn't
still
stop.
sharing.
Aha,
Ray, do you
I win.
have so Ray, do you have a stop share button visible? If you
I stopped sharing.
I'll
okay.
go tell the folks to come back from the other room.
What's the share setting?
Why don't we just close all rooms? Would that be okay? Is that okay, Jeff?
Sure, that
Yeah.
works.
Well, what's the share setting now, Jeff?
The security still says not to allow participants to share.
So Ray can't start a share at this point.
That's correct, because I'm nobody. I've been killed.
And you lost control of your breakout rooms, right? You no longer had the way to manage them. So it doesn't really kill them.
Nope. They would keep
per
Or
se.
you just lose admin control.
You just lose control.
Yeah, and
So if
when
you
I
were
rejoin
sharing-
and reclaim host, it or maybe it even did it with co-host. Definitely did it here. When I rejoined, it popped up the breakout room management dialog to me by default to kind of let me know, hey, this is kind of in session.
Oh, Jeff.
Sorry, Jeff. What happened?
When I rejoined, my not only did I get to the gallery view like I normally would, the breakout room management dialog window was opened. They had that opened for me as well.
As you joined. Okay.
So I'd be aware, hey, you just got here, but by the way, these breakout rooms are open and in
Well,
session.
especially since you're going to be expected to manage them as
That's
you
right.
come in.
Yeah. Unless you were gonna say
Nothing closed automatically, did it? Or was it?
No, we closed
no.
it. We closed
Okay.
it. So you guys could hear what Jeff was saying. So Jeff, you got a pencil? PayPal.me/PayPal.me
PayPal.me.
PayPal.me/Richard. Just saying.
American money.
American money.
All right.
Yes, your co-hostness.
I'll share my screen as I send payment to you.
Oh, so I'm teasing, but
That's funny. No, that's good. That was good. So I always try to logically think about, like if I enable under security, allow attendees to share, and then I disable it while they're sharing, that's a trigger, right? And it says, hey, if there's somebody sharing right now, boom, it gets zapped.
Is that
trigger
true?
obviously doesn't take place during a demotion of privileges. It acts more like you've been given co-host to start a share. I've removed co-host. Your share can continue. It goes down that workflow versus the security one, which is good to know.
Have you tested out that?
Well, yeah, we just
share or not share?
yeah, we tested it before we did this previous test. Yeah, we did that. Yeah, we did that just
You
here.
were co-host.
No,
I
removed co-host from him.
So I was made co-host in order to share,
right.
And then he removed co-host,
Right.
and then he removed the all participants can share, and that kicked me out.
Yeah.
So, but the setting is participants cannot share. I mean, that's how you have it set.
Yeah, but I only think it makes that now I know it only seems to make that evaluation when you uncheck a participants can't share. Like, because that's what I was thinking. Well, if Ray goes from host to participant, it will kill the share, but it doesn't evaluate it during that demotion, if you will. It only evaluates it when I remove the privilege to share for attendees. So, right, wrong, or indifferent, we're here to figure out what behaviors exist, right, currently. So, there is, I'm looking at the release notes for 10 days away on the 29th. And there's plenty of stuff coming. Automatic updates for Windows and Mac users can enable the desktop client to update itself when updates are available. I argue that that's a new feature because when I was having those problems with Zoom freezing on me as host. They gave me that clean uninstall program, and it wiped everything out. And then I installed what they considered their best stable version, which was several versions at 5.6.7 or something like that. And so I installed it, and I ran it knowing that I could, host meetings for a long period of time, no freezing and so forth. But after I'd leave that meeting and relaunch for the next meeting, boom, it would update. I'm like, son of a gun, because that just that caused me to have to deep uninstall again, reset my set. It just frustrated me to no end, but it auto updated. And so I really questioned this new feature, auto updates. But needless to say, there's, as far as meeting and webinar features, presentation slide control is coming in 10 days. Control progression of presentation slides without needing to ask the participant sharing the presentation for the next slide. Supports Google Slides, PowerPoint, and Keynote. The account owner and admins can enable this for use at the account group or user level. It requires 5.8.3 or higher, so the client who's going to tap into that remotely. So in my world, I always tell the speakers, hey, I want to own the presentation deck in my world, on my computers and so forth. If I get, maybe there's some resistance to that, I'll just ask them for it for backup purposes. If anything goes wrong on your end, I'll have them ready and queued up. I don't offer that up unless I have to. I want them to live here, and I'll give them, easy access to internetclicker.com or something like that to remotely drive them. Because I had to do a show the other day, second time I've done this same exact show for Johnson & Johnson, and I gave them Internet Clicker and the whole bit. They opted to next slide, next slide, next slide. I'm like, are you kidding me? One, your topic content is so boring, I don't want to have to sit here for an hour and a half and listen to it. But I have to now because I have to move your slides every time you call it out. But anyways, let alone, talk to Ray about how unprofessional that is, to do those call outs and so forth. But that was their preference, so we supported it. Anyways, but I will resist heavily against giving a speaker remote control of my Zoom computer that has their PowerPoint deck on it, because it is remote control of my computer, the mouse. And so, if I need to do something on that computer, we literally are battling the mouse pointer.
Yeah, it certainly is. And what I do on
tough.
that is I'll actually bring in a slide deck. I have another box that I dedicate just for that, and I bring it in. I load up the presentation on that, and then I give them control of that so that I still have control of my box.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. You can't even move your mouse. So even if you want to do something while they're multitask, it's tied up. Otherwise, you'll be fighting for control of the mouse otherwise.
So this new presentation slide control should be pretty inviting. We'll see how it all shakes out and how it presents itself and so forth.
I wonder what's new though. Is it the other slide deck types that are supported? Because we've been using that for a long time.
I think this is tied to the applications and doesn't tie up your computer that's hosting it. That's my unknown assumption. But my assumption is that it frees it from the remote control of the computer and ties it more like internetclicker.com is tied to PowerPoint only.
Because it talked about the specific two programs, Keynote and PowerPoint. That makes sense that it would be just controlling the software and Google
even
Slide,
cloud-based.
Right.
Sort of
Are you
end
leaving
up
us?
with.
You're muted.
I've got to go. So thank you. It was a lovely day. I'll see you. Hey, it's a Thanksgiving next week. Are you still going to have Test Kitchen?
I don't know. You guys vote.
What are you going to do with your $5? That's what I want.
We'll see what shows up. I think he valued me more than $5. I'm expecting he'll probably.
Amazon
Anyway,
gift
I
card.
gotta go. If I don't see you
All right.
next week, I'll see you in a couple of weeks,
Happy
or maybe on
Thanksgiving.
office hours or
Have
after.
a happy Thanksgiving.
Bye bye.
Jeff, but just coming back to what you're saying, doesn't it sort of imply that your computer ends up with two mouses?
Mice.
No, I don't
I'm
think so. I mean,
two
if
mice.
they mice,
3 blind mice.
well, you know, like Internet Clicker, it's tied directly into PowerPoint, small plugin that you have to install, right?
Right.
And so it becomes a drop-down menu. So I'll be interested to see how this actually works out. I mean,
I wonder if they'll actually give them an interface. If they'll actually give them a button. So if say the API, I'm just guessing, say the API will allow it to advance and move back on slides, maybe there's a back and forward button that it shows them instead. So it doesn't matter what you do with your mouse if you're serving up the slides for them.
yeah. I mean, Internet Clicker, it doesn't matter what I do on that computer, you know. I mean, it's
Hey, I got to run, everybody. It's been a pleasure. Have a great holiday weekend.
You
See
too,
you, Marty.
Week next week, this
We'll
week.
see you, Marty.
Take care.
Take care. Support for sending HD video on mobile devices. So supported devices will be able to enable HD video in app settings and send video.
I wonder if they've
720.
gotten rid of the 4:3 aspect ratio on mobile devices.
Hey, Jeff, can you share your screen while you're looking at that?
Yeah.
Zoom in a little bit.
More.
Yeah. There you go.
So this is where I was. Spotlight self. Ha! Wow. Finally. This was one of my, boy, you could have heard me scream at one gig I was on. And I had a multi-spotlight up. And one of the next things I needed to do was spotlight my own camera, which is my program out of vMix, right? And do a replace spotlight of everybody who was up there. And so I don't remember why, but I was hung on, needed to do it from the participants list. And the only person in that list that I could not spotlight was me. It's like, why? And so look at this. I just saw this for the first time. Support self for the host in the participants list. So that's just a weird one that it wasn't there in the first place, but it is true in addition to the menu. Yeah. Compatibility enhancements for Smart Gallery. Wonder what Smart Gallery is.
I've heard about this feature for the Smart Gallery. It picks who is in the gallery as opposed to the regular grid view. I'm not sure what criteria it uses to populate that Smart Gallery.
There was a session on it in Zoomtopia, and basically it was meeting rooms. So, and they would like say 3 or 4 people in a meeting room, it would isolate those as a group, right? So almost like a mini super source.
Yeah, that's kind of cool. Were they multi-definable? Like, could you predefine this 3 and these 4 and those 5 and then run a show that way? I wonder. George, you're muted.
In a sec. Spacebar not doing it. I didn't see any more than 4 people, and it might have been even 3. So they would have had to put multiple systems in a room that had more than 3 people, is my guess. So it was like I've got 4 people around the boardroom table, and I got 6 people online. So we're going to make it kind of an all online experience, is what it was aimed for.
Yeah.
And it would like go, okay, those are 3 faces. Put boxes around them, and then wait till somebody speaks and make that box bigger. and it had kind of a speaker and a gallery view. They didn't get into the, doing any drop downs or an explanation of what was going on. It was just kind of a show and tell, and how it was intended to create a hybrid experience with a small number of people in a room.
And it's Zoom room only by all indications here.
Yeah, all I saw was Zoom room demo.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So, they're finally re-releasing this. Add video to waiting room. So,
Yeah, saw that.
So when's that going to officially come out?
This release date is 10 days away, the 29th. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks. Something we've all been longing for.
Yeah, and they released it once and then they pulled it, and so now finally it's going to come back. Webinar, order Q&A chronologically or by upvote, so that's good. Guest indicator for submitted Q&A. Chat features, that's out of meeting chat anyways there. Phone features, all right.
I've been wondering, when are they going to allow us to pin a chat?
Yeah, so it always is up top.
It's so important when we do these meetings with where you require instructions on how to use the interpretation. People come in after you've presented how to use the interpretation initially, and they come in, they said, oh, we don't understand anything.
Yep, true. Yeah, even if you could pin a chat with a URL to a web page that you've built.
That's exactly what we do. Mm-hmm. And it's funny because I've been playing recently with Teams and with WebEx for different sessions, and you can do that.
Just want to make sure I haven't missed anything through our meeting today. Reclaim, got that. That was the 15th, 21st.
Jeff, while you're looking, can I do a quick sound check? I've got a new box in the room and I want to know how bad it is. I have original sound off now, and I'm going to turn it on. Original sound is on. Is the box noise making too much noise? Going to turn original sound is off. Now it's back on.
Minimal. There is
Minimal.
a difference. There's a difference, though.
You're wearing headsets, Joe.
I hear more of a
should tell.
difference in your voice than I hear with background, but I don't have both ears plugged in right now either.
But it does take away some of the highs of my voice, doesn't it?
It takes away the lows.
Yeah, it's like.
So I'm on original sound now, turning it off. Now it's on original sound is off.
Yeah, your voice is flatter with it off. With it on,
And I don't like it that way.
you have more.
Because
You have more timbre.
articulation.
You have more timbre in your voice when it's off.
But well, it's got quiet for a second. Let me pin that and see what it says.
You need a level meter, Ray. There you go.
Can I get a level meter? I asked this in office hours today. I have just a Scarlett USB adapter, and it's got little blinking lights, but I have no level meter at my end. What can I put in the middle of the Scarlett to the before it goes to Zoom, so that I could look at this? What do you suggest?
What I have up on the screen?
What is this one? You lean louder. Is that Windows?
Yeah, it's Ulean. You can get it for Windows. I've got it rigged up so that it's showing you what your audio is, but by default, it'll tell you what your audio is going out. There's another free one. It's Orban loudness meter. That's set up to hear other people's audio in the meeting. I like this one better, but I need to route it with Voicemeeter in order to change the routing out to you. So right now, my voice, and it's dead set. If you get the free version, it's a free app. It's set on 23, negative 23 LUFS, and that seems to be pretty decent for what we do. And I usually tell people, try to hit for right here. Try hit for this level here.
Yep.
So you just want to be touching this level, and if you speak, you'll see that you'll see where your audio is in comparison.
Today is a good day to check the opportunity of making sure you've got specialty pans ordered for. So I need to turn it up. Is that what you're saying?
Up a little bit.
So I have some gain control here. I have a system that if I brought it, now that's at max. Okay, so it's showing just the blinking light. And so that's that's about as high as I can go without getting closer to the shotgun.
It's pretty close. Usually I say, just tickle the red.
Right.
Is where you want to be.
To coin a phrase.
Yeah, it's better than killing things,
Thanks. Sorry, Jeff. I didn't mean to hijack.
No, that's okay.
What you were looking into. What did you find? Thanks, thanks, John.
Yeah.
Josh.
Well, Ray, your ambient went way up too when you increased your gain.
Oh yeah, I'm not surprised. That's
Yeah,
the
no
problem.
kidding. Yeah, that is the problem.
So I'm going to go back to original sound off. Now, if I was able to get some sort of an EQ in it, maybe that I could do that at this end.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a like Ulean EQ that I can put in the line? Or do I need a machine?
I use Voicemeeter. Voicemeeter has EQ on every channel. Right now, I have an EQ on my voice here. I just turn my EQ off. This is my voice without the EQ. I turn the EQ back on. This is my voice with the EQ. It's a I'll show you. So this is
I tried to load Voicemeeter. I had a problem with it, so I disconnected it this morning.
Okay. It's pretty powerful as far as routing. That's how I'm making Ulean meter. I can make that available for attendees in the meeting as opposed to it just pointing at me. I can route anything to anything, use virtual meters.
Yeah.
It does require if you're running it's a Windows app.
Windows, yeah.
Windows only, and I find that I assign processing power directly in the task manager to the Windows audio process and to Voicemeeter, and that seems to fix my Windows issues. If you have a sufficient enough system to take care of audio.
Great, thanks. I might lean on you when I finally get it installed. Thanks.
Sure. Yeah, let me know. I can help you out.
Thanks.
Sorry, Josh, what did you say the other app was?
Voicemeeter. It's from VB Audio.
No, not voice meter. Loudness meter.
Oh, this one. This is this one here. This is the Ulean loudness meter.
Yeah, a teleprompt and a telestrator too.
That's another could be a free app. This is it's called what's it called? This is the little drawing tools I have. It's the name escapes me. Oh wait.
We have so many apps, it's hard to remember what everything is.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of these, let's see. Let me look at my thing, like Epic Pen. It's Epic Pen. And the free version is actually really powerful. I wound up paying, I forget what it was. I got discount code. It's $20, $30 or something to buy it, and it gives you features that I felt worthwhile, so I bought it. But I mean, you could probably, if you just want to draw, if you just want to draw on the screen or telestrate or highlight, you could do that for the free
Using
version.
your mouse?
I have a touchscreen.
Oh, all right.
I could use my mouse, or I can draw on the screen. Yeah, it's a nice Epic Pen. It's a decent app. It's a little, it can be a little interesting because I have the Stream Deck set up to activate it, and the only issue with the Stream Deck integration is that it's one of those integrations that just basically uses shortcut keys. So this is my Stream Deck, and let's see, it's these buttons here you all get for free, and then these guys here you pay for. So you get the arrows and lines, squares and circles, and text on the screen. And you can do, like, if I hold down Shift, I can make perfect squares, or the circle, I can make perfect circles if you hold down the Shift, or if you have the lines, right? You can do 45-degree increments, make straight lines.
But
Same
do you
thing.
have Stream Deck and Companion running on your
Just Stream
Stream
Deck.
Deck? You have both
Just
of
the
them
Stream
running?
Deck.
Just the
I
Stream
just
Deck.
have the Stream Deck. Yeah, I don't have Companion running right now.
I'll try it. Thanks.
Yeah. Cool thing I like to do is you can animate stuff. So later on, you can use the back button to draw stuff back on the screen that you set. Yeah, it's pretty decent.
Neat.
Cool. I just downloaded it. I want to use it starting right now.
There you go.
Oh no. Now I don't know how to get back to the mouse. I'm drawing little dots on all my icons.
Yeah, so if you look at the little button here, this little cursor key, it's Control Shift 2.
That gives you your mouse back.
Give you your mouse back. I have a button on my Stream Deck
that does it for you.
Yeah, I mean, I made these custom buttons. So the little one that has a little mouse on it, this little yellow on the top.
Yeah.
I push that, it gives me my buttons back.
That's funny.
You can draw on it, but I
Hijack,
can't push
Joe.
it.
It's coming up to witching hour for me, guys. I've got to run. 5:30 coming up soon here in the East. Thank you, everybody, including Robert, who's well into his morning by now.
Yeah.
We're just coming up to midnight, actually.
Yeah. All right.
That's
very good.
Jeff, I think it's a good idea if you could come up with something we could actually test stuff, Zoom things. So if you'd work on that, we'd probably all benefit from it.
Might show up more often, you know.
Yeah, I might even do that.
Hey, Jeff,
you're good at creating things, Jeff.
Yeah, yeah, you're good.
Making things
crap up.
Hey, Jeff, can I do something a little bit off topic with you right now, really quick?
Yeah.
So
I'm going to leave while you do it,
Frank,
Joe.
take
Sorry,
care.
I got to get out of here.
Thanks, Frank.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Yes. So I heard you mention internet clicker. I was just wondering how long ago was the last time you used it?
A week ago, I
week
guess,
ago?
with a customer.
Okay. Because I've been using it, and I noticed somewhere along the lines a month or two ago, it's the behavior changed a little bit. Either I don't remember it, or it changed. But now you have to have the app that you're controlling in focus. I remember it didn't need to be that way. I remember you could be doing something else, and whatever internet clicker was doing, it would act on your PowerPoint. But now you have to have PowerPoint in focus in order for it to work. I'm just wondering if that's a change, or it's just I'm not remembering it right.
Let me fire up.
Yeah,
PowerPoint.
I just tested it right here
This is a third-party app version of Test Kitchen.
Yeah, this is the internet clicker test kit. Yeah, I just tested it before and brought it up with you. And it did exactly the way I've seen it work lately. So just for fair warning, if someday it's not working, just make sure you've got your PowerPoint
Yeah.
in focus and you'll be good to go.
Let's see here. I'm opening some decks, but I don't want to share those on this because I did some whack shows last week. Content-wise, I'm like, oh my gosh. It's not my content, but...
Joe, just a quick question. Is
Yeah.
it nothing to do with PowerPoint when you go into presentation mode, opening the actual presentation mode in another separate window?
Well, I did in fact have it open in a separate window. That's true. But what I also did was I tested it by putting something else in focus, and Internet Clicker would then act on that. So I just brought in my Windows Explorer, and then Internet Clicker would then act on my Internet Explorer because that was in focus.
Because there's something about, I think it's Office 365 when you use PowerPoint in Office 365 and it opens it in a separate
That's
window
the way I
in
did
Present. Yeah.
That's the way I did it. Yeah.
A lot of, just recently, we've been having issues that when presenters come on and they do share screen and they open their PowerPoint presentation, and then from that level, they go into presentation mode. The presentation opens in a different window, and of course, Zoom doesn't share that screen. It's sharing this screen, yeah? And it's been really tricky just explaining to them, go to the top, do a new share, don't come out of your share, do a new share, and then select the full screen presentation. But it's easier to use the new share at the top of the screen than it is to close it, go into full screen presentation mode, and then Alt Tab until you get to Zoom.
Well, that's good to know, but that's a little bit different workflow than Jeff and I were talking about. What we're doing is we're hosting the PowerPoint on our machine locally and giving them control over the internet through Internet Clicker.
I understand, but
Okay.
my question is it nothing to do with you giving control over the in PowerPoint before it opens that second window?
Well, let's try it.
Well, and then the other question is will it, I've never really tested this, but is there going to be a excuse me, hang on, I got a cough. To share the screen that the presentation's on versus the PowerPoint application that has the full screen presentation on it. So whoever wants to bring up, go to internetclicker.com on your computer or mobile device or whatnot. I'm ready to have somebody connect.
I got mine open.
The code is four odd numbers, 4 even numbers, 1357 2468.
All right.
Okay, so here's the setup. I have PowerPoint open on my desktop on my third monitor. I tell it to launch to presentation mode, all on the same screen, no presenter view, just full screen. Pops it up on the same monitor, and then here, let me share it. I'm going to share PowerPoint first. And it's pretty interesting, actually. Oh, yeah, that's not the one. So, yeah, the PowerPoint, let me share the PowerPoint deck directly, not the monitor, okay? And I'm going to click share. Now, you guys all see that. I have captioning turned on in PowerPoint. And so now, Joe, if you're connected, then go ahead and move slides around. Now I'm going to move my mouse over to vMix, and I'm going to click on the vMix app. Now go ahead and drive your slide. You're still driving. I'm messing around in vMix with no problem.
Interesting.
Okay, so now the next test, I'm going to stop sharing, but this time I'm going to share the screen that has the presentation on it. Now go ahead and drive slides. Now I'm going to click on vMix, drive the slides. It's still going. Yeah, so either one. That doesn't seem to
That
make a difference.
doesn't jive with what's happening on my end. I'm going to do some more testing with that later on. I got to be
Like
running.
I said, this is, I make sure that the presentation is single screen only, no presenter notes. Where PowerPoint is where the presentations open up. A presentation opens up right on top of it, and so no multi-screens, things like that. I mean, that I don't feel like I'm doing anything special, but I do try to dumb down the PowerPoint piece of it so that I'm not burning screen real estate and so forth. But yeah, I hadn't noticed that, and it doesn't appear to be this one's behavior, anyways.
All right. Well, I'm going to have to test it and see what try it in these single screen mode versus the second screen mode, which is what I've been doing.
Okay.
All right. Thank you guys. I'm going to run.
Yeah, you bet.
Have a good day.
Well, for anybody who likes jazz, I'll take 60 seconds and show off I have twin boys who are 21 and a daughter who's 26, but one of my boys plays in the BYU University Jazz Ensemble, and some of you have heard him before with his audition stuff, but they had a concert the other night, and it was the first solo he was given in his college band, and I'm like, okay, cool. And I think he killed it. So I'll keep it short, but it was quite impressive. So I'm going to use the advanced share tab, sharing a video, to do it. So it will give us, decent results. And
Question about the advanced share tab. Do you find that it helps to wait a second to let the video buffer before you push the play button, or does it matter whether you just push it right away?
Yeah, if normally I have expectations, my own expectations, to make this sucker play as quick as possible. And so I have the file dialog up. I've selected the file. My left finger is on the space bar and my right finger's on the mouse to say share. And I go share, bounce on the space bar, just bing, bing. And because it won't autoplay, but the space bar will get it started. And I've never felt any delay or hesitation or anything like that. So it has been pretty
I'm just
effective.
curious if it buffering. I know when we used to use the Adobe Connect platform, we would have to deliberately start playing it and let it start buffering first and give it a head start. But if it's sustainably downloading it, it could pre-buffer as you're playing it. It should be able to.
It's done good. So so right now I've selected the video advanced share. The file dialog is open. I've highlighted the file and I have an open button that will finish it, that'll share it, and my left thumb is on the space bar, and so I'll try to make it pretty instantaneous. And then I'll fast forward. The beginning's a little slow, but I'll fast forward as well.
That was
I
weird.
Screwed that up pretty good. It was vMix had focus, and I had it loaded over there too in the queue, and it queued that over instead of just sharing it. So okay, let's try that again. Okay, video libraries, videos. All right.
The sound got to me before I saw the video.
Yeah, I think it was my vMix video that was giving you sound. There is a little bit of sound before.
Well, so much for that technique, Jeff.
No, let's see. That technique should work this time because I have everything with the right focus, I believe. Here we go. I'll try it again. That worked. I'm going to turn up the volume in the video player itself.
You go up.
Now, fast forward. So, unfortunately, the camera people missed him, but you'll still be able to hear him. He starts, I think he comes on at about 145 or 150. He's in the front row, second person. There's the little mini me that come through all
Very
right.
cool.
Oh yeah,
Very nice.
that came through just nicely. So, can you give me the address of whoever was switching that so I can kill them? Sorry. Did I say that out loud?
No, George, you are like my best friend right now because I was literally just walking, pacing my room, cursing, like, come on. And they did, and get this, he has a second solo that just blew the first one away. It was unreal. And the stream dropped right in the middle of it. And on the computer that we plugged into our TV to watch it in the hearth room, you know, we're like, oh, and we hit refresh, and it seemed to back up and rebuffer. I couldn't get to my office fast enough because this is where I was recording it, and so I missed it. I have no recording of it, and they don't make it available after their live webcast.
Wow.
I'm just like, oh, I'm so
Brutal.
so frustrated. Their camera, their audio was incredible. I mean, the way they have that stage mic'd, and I'm not a big sound guy, but it was freaking amazing how clearly you could hear and how well balanced all those instruments were. And like those saxophone mics, I don't know, somebody wrote me SR or RS44s or something like that. They're like 1,100 a piece, 8KCs. For each sax and each horn, I'm just like, I don't know how many thousands of dollars they've got, you know, on this stage, but it was super, super impressive. The video switching, on the other hand, I could kill them. Absolutely kill them. How many times they were on the rhythm section when there was a sectional going on, the whole group playing just this incredible piece, and or they're more interested in this slow-mo zoom for with no correlation to what's actually being played. I'm just like, wow, I want to pull my hair out as a parent, you know. And anybody with a critical eye, you know, would I mean, I gotta soften up because they're all students, you know.
Sure.
The audio guys actually graduated, but but needless to say, yeah, it makes it pretty difficult. I'd be a lot softer on them if I knew I could get something after, but
give them a ISO extreme. So here you go.
Yeah.
Really.
Switch it however you want. Switch it
I
however you want.
I mean, quite honestly, I would imagine they've got, you know, tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars wrapped up in their sound and video. It was just all operator issues, you know, time. I mean, whoever was in the, I texted my son at one point. I said, you must have an enemy in the control room because they nailed you on your first one and didn't get you on camera till the very end. And they interrupted you on your second one. And, but he wasn't alone, you know. It was just like, holy moly, guys.
I never let anybody switch music who can't at least read basic music, who doesn't understand musical flow. They don't belong there. It's like Well, would you put somebody on a football game who had no idea how the
Yeah.
game worked? Of
Well,
course
that's
not.
it. And, you know, and sit through at least a rehearsal with the score and
Oh,
mark the score on what instrument just moved and moved, because those are your cues, you know.
George, it seemed
And
to work with Ted Lasso.
I
yeah,
don't do
that's
television.
true. Ted Lasso. That was a
Well-
classic show. I love that show.
Hmm.
All
It's
right.
just, yeah, painful. The sound was great. Yeah, that was awesome.
They did a really good job on the stage for audio for sure, and the
So-
band itself is just, I mean, they have three different jazz bands there, you know, kind of talent based, and so they're top tier. They're going to be playing in Dallas in January at a big 3-day like jazz education festival or something there, and then they have to fly from Dallas to New York to play at the Lincoln Center with
Sweet.
Winston Marsalis, and so they've got
Jazz at
invited
Lincoln
to some
Center.
pretty nice gigs.
Just thinking about like the Belfast method and as a training program and
Yeah.
switchers.
Did you say something, Talalak?
Said Jazz at Lincoln Center.
Yeah, is that are those two physically different locations, Tlaloc?
Yeah.
As far as Lincoln versus Jazz, are they near one another?
Yeah, they're near one another, and Wynton Marsalis has a whole that Jazz at Lincoln Center is Wynton Marsalis baby,
Gotcha.
and it's at Columbus Circle, and there's a bunch of different venues that they play in, right in that sort of big building there.
Cool. Yeah,
Beautiful
that's where
venues. I don't know
that's
where,
where
you
they're
know,
going.
and the events that are outside of that building as well that are still part of the envelope of Jazz at
Sure.
Lincoln Center.
Yeah, and then he's gonna be at BYU with these guys in February, I think.
That's
after
fantastic.
They've been there, so yeah, they've got pretty solid following. Young. Oh, here. Oh, that's not the one. That's November. He has a Young Stars of Jazz, but that's not the one. Anyway,
You guys know this is a subject a question that came up when you were sharing your screen to show us that concert.
Mhm.
Is there a way to change the settings locally in your computer to not take over the computer when a screen is shared?
Yep, there is. If you go into the Zoom app, share screen. Where is it? I was looking at it the other day.
Windows size when screen sharing, maintain current size. That's what we
Well,
want.
Are you talking about the window size, kind of going full screen or whatnot, or? Okay, yeah, that's the one you'd want to.
Yeah,
do
that's what that
is.
is.
That top one.
I thought you meant
Screen
taking over your.
maximize, or you do
Yeah.
maintain. If you maintain size, then even if the first one's wrong, you resize it while it's there, and then all the other ones will meet that size.
I always do
But
this one.
and if the other person does full screen on their application that they're working on, that wouldn't affect it, would
It
it?
won't affect yours.
Okay.
Yours will still fit in the window you told it to fit
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
in. Yeah.
So Jeff, just coming back to your son's concert, are you going to give him some sort of a piece of equipment so he can record his own feed of every time he goes to a concert?
You
so
know,
don't
it's
rely-
not a half bad idea if they'd let him do it. I'd send them. I have a Zoom H5 or 6 that I could send them with a small tripod, and just say, hey, set this up in front of the band and just catch it, via the ambience of the room and
Go for the gusto.
least-
Give him a little. Give him a little 1/4-inch jack and say, "Hey, can I plug this in?"
yeah, I might be going too far, but yeah, I know. If for nothing else, I'd send them the Zoom and say, hey, here's the tripod. Here's how to turn it on and hit record. Make sure you do it right in front of everybody. just to let them know how desperate some parents are to get a freaking copy of their students' experiences, you know? I mean, it's nice that they, live stream the stuff, but not everybody can make that live moment. And if there's a hiccup for either of those cases, they don't make anything available afterwards. And and my son Josh, he even shared, he goes, it's really frustrating. He says, because BYU has all the copyright and releases and ownership that they possibly need for everything they play. They're completely legit through and through, and yet they still completely lock it down after a live performance is done, and it's just like it's super frustrating. They did a really cool video. What was this? This was on YouTube, I think. I think it might have been the first time they'd ever done this, if I can find it. I'd like to, I don't know if somebody can, oh, here it is. Maybe somebody can help explain to me how they do this as well. So let me get the link. I'll just put it directly in vMix. Because you'll see in this recording, it's on a rooftop, and there's no cables, there's no mic stands. You know what I'm saying? So how they piece it all together, and tougher than that is it's like, okay, if they aren't really playing into mics, they're dubbing it. If they're dubbing it, okay, but what about the synchronized fingers? While they're on a soloist or something like that. That's the part I really don't get. Like, how do they end up pulling it off? But let me think this is up now.
Jeff, are you trying to say that a soloist beat his solo?
Well, it's not easy. I mean, I'm not saying they can't, but here, I'll bring this over and. That's the part I don't get. Like, how do they do that?
It's all done in post.
It's all done in post. I mean, how they line that up, and he's.
What?
I mean,
What?
obviously, I mean, it's got like having a metronome has got to be critical, right?
Yep,
I mean, so
absolutely.
they know that they're playing at exactly the same tempo.
They have a click track. If they have a click track on it, and the click track is there and locked in with the record, then.
So what do you think they've got going for speakers on the rooftop? Like how many tracks of what are playing on the rooftop for them to go ahead and play, but they're really not recording their horns up there?
Oh, I just suspect it would be a click.
Just a click?
Just
versus
a click.
Maybe a previous performance, and they're just
or possibly a previous performance. But
but
if you take each and every one of those shots as not the whole, I think you'll understand better how they did it. Because
there's lots of pieces, because like when the BYU Cougars there, the director's not, and then the director is, and the Cougars
Right.
not. So I mean, there's definitely
Yeah.
very
And
very
during the
separated
pandemic, a lot of
takes.
the companies, a lot of the opera companies and various music companies, you know, were making these massive pieces together, all separated. And so, you know, they just had to take the video and line it up to the music.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of careful editing, but it's doable.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. It wasn't easy to get them up on the rooftop, let alone get drone footage. All the approvals, you know. Like, oh, I imagine. But anyways, they're having fun. Well,
Well,
thanks for letting me share, guys.
No, that was great. I've just been told that if we're going to eat tonight, I need to get into the kitchen and get to work.
I'd be listening to that warning.
Oh yeah, that was the 2-minute warning. Hey, it's been great. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
We'll see you,
Glad having
George.
you here. Thanks for
See you,
joining
See you
us.
George.
soon. Cheers, folks. Good night.
Take care. All right.
Yeah.
Well,
just to bore you guys with one more
Yeah.
sort of piece of information. As of a week, Zoom is not the only corporate type app that has an interpretation module in it, because WebEx now has the interpretation module.
Oh.
So, of course, it doesn't give all of the good stuff that Zoom does, but it's still, from my point of view, from an interpretation business, we have an alternative to all of those anti-Zoomers who will say no to corporate Zoom, because we can go with WebEx now. So that's
Good to know. Good to know.
It's the same module.
it's the
that Zoom
same
uses?
module. No, it's the well, WebEx have built it into their app, because you need to keep in mind that WebEx is the Cisco web conferencing system, but they've also got the app just like Zoom does, and they've installed it. They've had it in their hardware solutions for some time now, but now they've introduced it into their app, so you can log in remotely and just get in to select the language that you want to
In the
listen
client? No.
in the client itself. Yeah.
Wow,
So,
nice.
so I'm starting to play with that, because I need to figure out how to use. You use Voicemeeter. I use their virtual cables, their virtual audio cables, to pull out the different language streams and then use them and push them into something else. And so I need to start playing with WebEx now and do that, because for corporate clients, it's critical. If some of them, as soon as they hear the word Zoom, they're gone.
Zoom, right? So
Zoom,
what are you using to route the translation channels?
It depends on the size of the event, but I've got a rack of laptops here, because on Zoom you need to go per laptop and per client and select the language channel you want.
Yeah. So you
And
got a
then
farm there.
I got a farm here. Sometimes we NDI it if there's only 3 or 4 channels into vMix, and then we have one video feed and then multiple audio feeds that we RTMP out to Vimeo mainly. But when we have more channels, then we need to be a little bit more sophisticated than that. And that's
Gotcha.
and the sophisticated. Let me just say that, because it's
yeah. So I
it's
guess
hard
you
work,
need.
though.
I guess the specs for your laptops, I take, would be 4 cores, the minimum processor that Zoom recommends.
Yeah, I've actually got bigger machines, because apart from the Zoom client, we usually run OBS in there to capture and then do something else with that, or NDI I'm doing. But I must admit, Jeff, you'll be proud of me. We have our first what?
Ah, look at that. Mac
Is that an
Mini
M1?
M1, is it?
Yes, it's an M1, and we'll be running ISO now to scrape.
I
HD.
forgot to, I noticed this and forgot to point it out when we were going through these release notes. The ones coming out on the 29th, yeah, the ones coming out on the 29th, Turkish and Polish language support for Windows, Mac OS, Linux, and Android and iOS. Yeah, by default, Zoom will match the operating system's language if supported, and users can manually select it as well. So
Well,
I don't know how much you've dealt with that, but
I can boast that's I have a little teeny weeny bit of success there because I've been working with them hard to get that on board.
Cool.
And in fact, we were very lucky after Zoomtopia. Zoom gave us a big contract to literally do the live interpretation of a lot of the Zoomtopia
cool. Yeah,
into different language.
Sam was the one who hit me up for your contact info.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
maybe that's what led up to that. That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
So
yeah, that was a great, it was a great move on your part to become do your thing during Sam's visit and all, because that exposure to him and his events and what you do and so forth was perfect timing. Perfect exposure. So good stuff.
Jeff,
glad
I've
that
had
worked
people
out.
from Zoom come to me and say, we didn't realize that you could do this.
Yeah, isn't that wild?
It is a bit
really
funky,
good.
but it was good. But I there's a lesson learned that we haven't shared about that event. Remember how I really struggled to get all the interpreters on board?
Yeah.
And the reason that happened is because you had what's the word?
The authentication requirement.
Authentication on. And what was happening is the interpreters were logging in twice on two different machines, one to listen to their partner and one to interpret.
Gotcha.
And what was happening is some of them used the same link. And when they did that, they got thrown into the it threw them into the virtual booths twice. And it was just a total mess up because they still couldn't hear each other and they were knocking each other out because Zoom was saying, listen, you guys are here twice. One of you's got to go. And I didn't realize what it was until I thought to myself, there must be something that Jeff has that is non-standard here in this config. And that was it.
Good to know.
That was a lesson learned as well. And I know it cost you a lot of nerves because you were getting quite edgy.
Yeah, I was. Yeah, I had an important guest, and I mean, we were top of the hour and hadn't gotten the clearance from you yet. It was tough. So, but it worked out. It all worked out. Had a great turnout and lots to learn. I just wrote Sam to see if we can get him back and do a little more follow up on things they're learning along the way and so forth. So it should be good.
Yeah.
Good stuff. All right, you guys. Well, always good connecting. Good to be back too. I've been away for too long, and but good hanging out and got this out there. Had Rupert step up, which was great. But both times, I even started the stream for him because streams are hard to start if you're not the originating host. And so but the last one I was able to start the meeting, give him host. I started the stream, walked away, only to find out that it streamed to like my personal account or something. I'm like, dang, got it. And that's exactly what happened to Guy like 2 or 3 weeks before that. And it's just like, what the heck? It's just the streaming's really been getting us, but hopefully this will land. I know it's in the right archive. I've been watching it on the 2 locations, so
it's going out to YouTube. Yeah, we checked it.
Yeah.
Hey, before we leave, I just have a email open to a Zoom rep that I may see on Monday, and I'm planning on asking about backstage feature, expo, some of the details about what you can do, what things get locked down at what points as far as publishing and selling tickets are concerned. Any other anything else I should throw in the email to ask? I have a feeling the last time I had this.
I'd be, unless you already know, you know, when they release Backstage for webinar, can we safely assume that that is webinar, whether it's an events or not an events?
Sam said from Sam that this is a webinar feature, not a Zoom events feature. And the clarification that
not a Zoom events feature, but webinar certainly is a linkage from a Zoom event lobby, right? So if I get to a webinar from Zoom events, will I still have Backstage, or is this for webinar only standalone outside of Zoom events?
Yeah, that.
I just feel like we can't safely assume that right now.
Is it okay? I'll put that in there. Is it available in Zoom events webinars? What happened last time is the associate that I was assigned to kept desperately trying to wrangle somebody that had a sandbox, because he didn't have a sandbox and he couldn't answer questions. He said we were so busy and launching things and whatever. And he delayed the meeting twice. And the third time he took the meeting and basically couldn't answer any of my questions. So that's why I'm
talking to sales reps. You got to start talking to their sales engineers.
That'd be nice.
It happened on office hours today. You know, he had the account rep said hello and the engineer said everything else. I mean, that was the role I played for years in IT. Is the engineer does all the talking when it comes to the details, for sure.
How much does this cost? Oh, I know this one.
The guy you should really probably be a more informed contact would be like Kevin Bedcock, who had come into the meetings with Sam.
Yeah.
He'd be a
oh no, not again.
He'd be a pretty strong contact.
So
Josh, do you have an accounts rep?
So for a company that I work for, I sort of kind of do, but it's not really a just through the sales, just inquired through sales, just to ask. Like I said, they've rolled off. I had one, and he pushed after our meeting with him, where he unfortunately couldn't tell me much. It then got handed over to another sales representative. So she doesn't sound very sure of herself. I mean, I asked about the sandbox, and she basically said, "Yeah,
Let me check that
what you're trying to accomplish."
But
sorry?
Josh, sorry. My point here is, you can ask your sales rep, to organize a meeting with your sales engineer, because the way they're set up is that the sales reps are grouped and they have an allocated sales engineer at their disposal. And so you can ask for access to him for a certain amount of time instead of just meeting up with sales rep.
I'm going to assume, based on what you said, that the sales engineer has the sandbox.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they're the ones that are trying to get a hold of. But I will specifically ask for their...
break out the credit card. You know, I mean, they just...
Right. They upsell you on features.
They can tell you details usually about licensing and ELAs and things like that. But sales engineers, they're the ones.
Right.
I would drop the alignment between you and an account rep. I would really try to establish one with an engineer.
I'm thinking
picky depending on how busy they are, because
best case scenario is you can try to upgrade the current relationship to one with an engineer.
Yeah.
I think going through, how do you do that directly though? I'm thinking that after I've wasted 2 meetings, I'm like, can I talk to an engineer now?
Yeah.
It's the now that causes the problem. But if you ask your sales rep that you'd like to arrange a meeting with the sales engineer, then that usually works.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to put that in the, I'll put that in the email. Can I please talk to the thing that I'm leery of is the fact that I specifically mentioned about getting the sandbox, getting someone with a sandbox, and she was like, "So sorry, not available with the sandbox." And I think that's the engineer.
Anything in the back. So let's take out the lambda and let's just go back. Why is
I
that?
think Tlalok knows that he's unmuted. Okay.
Now he's muted.
We'll just go ahead and mute that.
Although I was going to
So-
ask him, Tlalok, are you in New York? If you can answer. I don't remember where he's out of.
He,
Yeah.
You are?
I apparently had my mic open. I'm sorry.
That's all right. I'll reach out to you on Discord. I dropped a note to David Brady as well, but we may be coming out there for that concert. So
just your Duolingo coming through.
Like
That's
to
all.
Look you
That's
guys
all.
up. All right. Well, very good, guys. I'm ready to wrap. If you are, have a great weekend. Great
Yep.
connecting and sharing, and
You can go out to the music there. You got your.
Yeah. Let me see.
So you
I'll
said
tell
you're coming out here in January?
Yeah, I think the band is traveling from Dallas up there. I think the band is scheduled to play there on the 11th, and so we don't have every detail yet. But as we get closer and more of those details, we'll start booking rooms and flights.
All right, cool. Well, let me know. I'm teaching in Maryland that semester in the spring, but I hope to come and spend time with my wife as much as I can. So I'll be home.
Very cool. That'd be great. Thanks, man. This is my last thing. A couple weeks ago, I was getting ready to go live with a show. It was about 2 hours out, and for some reason, my instance of vMix got wacky. Like it had a weird icon next to it, and disable and edit weren't available, and I didn't know. I had no idea what was causing it, and I had programmed, all kinds of stuff in. I don't know where it was. Maybe 60, just referencing scripts and vMix. Thank goodness. But anyways, I removed the instance and went to reapply it. It would no longer search instances. The list of all the vendors wouldn't search. So I uninstalled Companion and downloaded the released version because I was on a beta version. I'm like, okay, I'll go released. I installed that, and every time I tried to launch it, I'd get a JavaScript pop up, and it would launch, but it would be useless to me. So then eventually, I uninstalled that, downloaded not the latest release, but somewhere between the released and latest. Installed that, and that actually worked, no JavaScript. So it's like, is that part of, I don't know. It's like, how can the release version give me a JavaScript error and the later version doesn't? But anyways, had that. So then I go, okay, it's there. It looked up the instance vendors, added vMix, plugged my Stream Deck back in, and my whole layout was there. It was made up of across like 3 or 4 pages, and all the code behind it was gone. All the buttons were there, all the colors, all the labels, but the code, all the actions were toast. And to this day, like today, I exported from my Mac the page that I use for this Zoom Test Kitchen, imported it in as a page to my Stream Deck here on the PC. Into that today. Same thing. Layouts there, no code behind it. I have no idea what the hell's going on. I've never run into it before. So I gotta post it out to the user group on Facebook and see and get any ideas. I mean, it seems to be storing it once I rebuild it, but I gotta rebuild it all. And that's just a tough exercise, sometimes time-based. So anyways, so we'll see if my end show button works when I
And now I know where you get all of the right copyright-free jazz music to play.
That's right. All right, you guys. Have a great weekend.
Take care.
Good seeing you.
And you. Take care, Jen. Thanks.
See you later.